Okay, so here we are. We're going to continue with the Season 4 tier list. Hopefully we don't get interrupted by any more demons like we maybe did last night. But we are going to get interrupted by Weird Al Yankovic in Pinkie Pride. This is episode 12. This is Pinkie Pie's key episode. And from what I understand, this is one of the most well-loved episodes in the entire show. It introduces a new character shown here named Cheese Sandwich, who is voiced by Weird Al Yankovic. It is a musical episode. Generally, the songs in the show are very well liked, at least speaking for myself. Generally, with some exceptions, the songs I tend to like them very much, and now you have Weird Al singing in the show, and that's a ton of fun. The thing I love about this episode is it understands how to write Pinkie Pie correctly, which we'll get into later on in the season, and how it's surprisingly sometimes kind of hard. Like, even Pinkie Apple Pie, which is an episode I really like, most of Pinkie's dialogue and her vocal performance in the episode is just she's too high-pitched. And not high-pitched, like, yeah, I'm super excited, this is a lot of fun. Like, she's just screaming. When Pinkie starts screaming her dialogue, I start to get really annoyed. Now, every now and then, it can be a funny line delivery. Again, as much as I hated this episode, Rarity's, screeching line delivery, going down in flames, is great. But there's something about when Pinkie does it, I tend to find it grating. And it's just not something that happens in this episode. What you kind of get every good and interesting part of her character. You get her singing, you get her, because I think the voice, I want to say Shannon Kent is the one that does her singing voice, and I believe that's the voice of Silver Spoon. I might be wrong about that, but I think that's correct. You get her singing, and I think her voice is very pretty. You just see her wanting to make people happy. You see her doing the thing that she loves, which is, I want to plan a party, and my friend is having a birthday, and I want to do that. And a new person comes into town. She's like, cool, nice to meet you. I want to know everything about you and be your friend. That shit's great. You get a point where she thinks she's being upstaged and being replaced, and we've seen Party of One at this point. We understand that, kind of like her good friend Rainbow Dash, Pinkie has a very fragile self-image. Although how Rainbow Dash hides it behind, this sense of ego and bravado, Pinkie just kind of seems to ignore it. But it is there, and I think Wonderbolt's Academy is an example of that. I do think even for Pinkie, it's kind of a bit much the way it's handled in that episode. But here, when someone else is going to throw Rainbow Dash's party, and Rainbow's like, yeah, I kind of want to see what this other person's got. I mean, your parties are great, but this guy's like a super party pony and party planner. I mean, come on, what am I going to do? Go with you? Let's see what this is. And I'm like, no, I get why this would kind of break Pinkie's heart. That just, I know Rainbow Dash, and I talk about how she's the piece of shit in the friend group, but that's my one thing with this episode. I love how Pinkie is written. I don't like how most people treat her. Twilight is kind of the exception. And I don't know if that's just, her able to be the princess of friendship is kind of what gets her out of it. Because Rainbow Dash is I'm going to go with the new dude. I want to see what he's got. Yeah, sorry, Pinkie. Everyone else is super swept up in Cheese Sandwich and his song, which, to be fair, I mean, it's Weird Al. And, that's just kind of how this series works. If you have a nice song, people are going to start listening to what you say. Look at Flim and Flam anytime they've been on screen thus far. Or in the movie, Capper, I think is the name of the cat. He has this song about how he's like, I'm the friend you need. I actually don't remember how it goes. But, the friend you need, I'm a friend indeed. And, charming is my game. And I can believe that most of the main six would fall for it. I can believe that Twilight would go, no, this is kind of dumb. Even though, I mean, she fell for Applejack's shit and bats. But I can believe Twilight going, no, this seems wrong. The fact that Applejack goes along with someone who's very clearly a charlatan. He even says straight up, like, the thing I'm good at is charming and smooth talking. Applejack would listen to 2 more words out of his mouth and then go, no, everything he says is bullshit. I think that's pretty out of character. But regardless, we're getting off track. The point is, I can believe most of the characters saying, yeah, this guy seems like a lot of fun. Let's see what he's got. Let's see how the party goes. With Twilight being the one to check up on Pinkie later, I mean, like, hey, you're gonna help him with the party, right? Like, you're not just gonna let him... Now, she doesn't say it like a challenge. Like, you're not gonna let him upstage you, right? But just kind of a... You're gonna join him, right? Like, this sounds like it should be a group effort? And I don't know why you're just kind of relenting. Like, I don't know. It seems like you're being done dirty, and maybe you should try and do something about that. And I like that from Twilight. The fact that she's sandwiched, like, his backstory is, like, I was super shy. I was just a super awkward dude. And then I went to one of Pinkie's parties, and, it just lit everything up. My world had color. I now understood that this is the shit I wanted to do. I wanted to spread joy the way that she does. And, like, it changed my entire identity. I got my cutie mark, and now that's the person I am. And the reason I came here, aside from my cheesy sense, because I got that too, telling me there was a party over here, I wanted to throw a great party so I could impress you, the person who changed my life forever. I'm like, oh, that's really sweet. I wouldn't say that he's necessarily mean to her before this point in the episode, but the way he talks to her and treats her, it's very dismissive. And I guess the point of it is, there's this whole the man with no name drifter bit that he's got going on that I don't really get into. Like, it's kind of funny, but I don't know. I'm not like, dude, this is so funny. I love this. I'm like, it's okay. I guess that's the joke we're going with. I don't hate it, but I don't super get into it either. And it's just for someone who's like, yeah, like, I wanted to do this I wanted to prove myself to you because of, how much of an inspiration you are to me. It's like, I don't know, I feel like you've been kind of a jerk to her. Not to anyone else, mind you. It's like kind of just to her. But maybe that's just how I see it, and it's not intended that way. I think you can see where I'm going with this. It's an episode where I'm so happy to see Pinkie Pie being well written and just showing all these parts of her character. The love she has for other people, her desire to throw parties to make people happy, the positive impact that she has on her community. Like we saw in Magical Mystery Cure, it's like, without Pinkie around to lift everyone's mood, Ponyville is a miserable fucking cesspool. She sings in the episode, and you also see the fragile ego and how it affects her, and you also see Pinkie's emotional intelligence, because during the goof-off, because you're like, okay, only one of us can plan Rainbow Dash's party, so I challenge you to a goof-off. So they just do a bunch of goofy, wacky shit, and it's fun, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't quite love it as much as I thought I would, but I don't hate it. Like, I don't find it annoying. I'm like, yeah, this is kind of fun. It's pretty good. I enjoy it. But there's a point where she realizes that Rainbow Dash isn't having fun, and this is her special day, and if my thing is, I want to make my friends happy, I want to spread laughter, and what I'm doing is not doing that, I have to stop and concede. And I really, really like that. But I don't know, there's just something about the way it's, like, the plot is set up, and the way that other characters treat her just feels weird to me. I think for me personally, it's a B tier episode. I respect it a lot for how it does Pinkie's character, but I do respect it more than I like it. Then we get to Simple Ways. So, I don't remember what it was. It was like the Ponyville Founders Festival. It was some kind of shit like that. But they're doing some kind of festival for the town. And Rarity is decided to be the head of the festival. And so the theme is, what was it? Small town chic. And it's like, I think there's like a cider tasting and a cider auction. I think there was like a dance, one or two other things. Like, this is my plan. It's going to be great. And there's someone who is coming to town. I believe the name is Trenderhoof, who is someone who, like, he's a traveler. He's a no, not, I don't know if reporter's the right word, but he's like a journalist. He has a column about all these kinds of, places that he visits and the small town vibes, maybe the big town vibes, and all that kind of shit. And Rarity loves him. It's not just that, like, oh, I really like his column. She has a huge crush on him. And he just doesn't see her that way. Instead, what he's into is he's into Applejack. And Rarity is very confused and flustered and angry. And she's neglecting her duty as the manager of this event in favor of trying to impress this dude by trying to act more country and be more like Applejack, who just wants this dude to leave her alone so she can go about her day and get her chores done and enjoy her family and just not be bothered. And it's great. There's this scene when Rarity is talking to Spike and she's like, Spike, you have no idea what it's like for you to absolutely adore someone and like want to be in a relationship with them, but they're too busy noticing someone else to be able to see you like this. And Spike just gives this look to the audience. Man says nothing, but that face said everything, and it's amazing. So this is about 2/3 of the episode. Is Rarity like, okay, I gotta do what I can to get this guy who likes Applejack of all people, and is like getting really mad at Applejack for stealing her crush, and Applejack's like, dude, not only am I not trying to steal your crush, I don't want anything to do with him. And like, I think it's fun. I think it's a good time. Then you get the last third of the episode, where Rarity goes from, well, let me try apple bucking with style, or let me try to, like in this image, trying to use a plow, but she doesn't know how to use it, so she starts, like, trying to ride it. She turns into, like, fucking backwoods hick Rarity, where she's wearing, like, overalls, she's wearing her hair differently, she's got this straw hat, and every word she says has this real drawn out bad southern drawl, and it's hysterical. And her friends are all very confused, and Applejack is like, I don't know if I'm confused, if I'm amused, if I'm a little offended. It's kind of everything at once, and it's great. And Applejack, to prove a point, to just show Rarity, like, how stupid she's being and how annoying she's being, and I mean annoying in the best possible way, because Rarity is just on her A game in this episode, Applejack becomes, what is it, Apple Jewel, I think, where she puts on one of Rarity's dresses, like, does up her hair, and is acting very prim and proper. I wouldn't say, like, full Southern Belle, but more just, like, high society mare, which, as we know from Cutie Mark Chronicles, that is something she wanted to be when she was a lot younger. She fancied herself as a fancy Manhattan pony, like the orange part of the family. And The climax of the episode is a conversation between Applejack and Rarity where they're kind of both trying to outdo each other, with Applejack essentially like, well, this is the fancy shit I like, and Rarity saying like, yeah, well, this is the hick backwoods stuff that I do. And the part that kills me is Rarity screaming. And so again, there's times where characters just screaming in the show can be really funny, with her like this psychotic looking face and screaming, I love it covered in mud. And then she just like jumps into a mud pit. And it's like, it's one of those things where like the line itself isn't particularly funny, but it's funny in the context of this character saying it. But the face, the timing, and especially the voice acting make it like the hardest I have laughed in 4 seasons. I think genuinely this was the funniest scene in the show so far. It's so good. Like, I think the episode as a whole, like the first 2/3 are good. They're fun. They're funny. I think it would be better if Trenderhoof was a little more memorable. Not to say he has to be like a Blue Blood where he's an asshole, but it's... I don't think I actually made a video about Equestria Girls, but to go on a very quick... I know I say that and I'm going to be here a while, but it is what it is, you know. Excuse me. But to go on a quick tangent, one of the things I really don't like about EQG, Equestria Girls, not Equestria Games, is Flash Sentry. Less because, hey, we've now introduced a character for one of the main characters to fall for. Because, you know, this episode introduced Cheese Sandwich, who ends up being Pinkie's future husband, and I don't think anyone was bothered by that. Unless you're like a hardcore Pinkie shipper or whatever the fuck. But the reason this character works is because he's memorable. He's fun. He has a fun personality. You know, like the way he moves, he's an animated character, but he's very animated. He's very energetic. You see it in the way he moves, in his voice. The fact that he sings, the fact that it's Weird Al. Like, there's so many things that work for this character. Like, yeah, he's a good time. Again, the whole drifter thing, I'm like, I kind of get it, and it's kind of funny, but, huh? But I still remember it. Like, so many things about him left an impression. Flash Sentry is just, yeah, I mean, he's kind of nice, I guess, and that's it. Like, he's not actually an interesting character. He's not cool. He's not funny. So the fact that it's like, this is what Twilight goes for? I mean, also, like, I'm a Twimax shipper. Like, let's call a spade a spade. Like, I'll acknowledge my bias here, but I mean, it doesn't work because there's kind of nothing there, and it's played seriously. To me, Trenderhoof is kind of similar, but at least he has, like, the thing to me that makes him very memorable is his just infatuation with Applejack, and Applejack wanting nothing to do with him, I think is funny. But is he himself the most interesting character? Not really. Doesn't leave the best impression. Or at least, I don't want to say the best impression is essentially like it makes me hate him. It doesn't leave the strongest impression. But I still think the shit around him, namely Rarity and Applejack's reactions to him, are very fun. But that last third, where Rarity loses her fucking mind, and I love it covered in mud, is so funny. I have to put this in S tier. Again, we'll see how many of these S tier episodes stay in S tier. I said that in the last video. But hot damn, this shit is great. It's so amazing. So now let's get to Filli Vanilli. Remember when I was saying about how what I love about this is they wrote Pinkie right? This one doesn't. And it's like the one problem with the episode. maybe 1.5, because, like, I have one thing where it's less a problem and just more of a preference. I mean, again, this is all subjective. It's all preferences, but I feel like you kind of know what I mean. Like, it's more of a nitpick, but then again, a lot of the shit I say is probably nitpicks anyways, but they just bother me. Anyways, let's just get into the episode. Short version. Rarity is part of an a cappella group called the Ponytones, along with Big Macintosh and just kind of 2 other Rambobs. And one of their biggest fans is Fluttershy. And Fluttershy, you know, like, she has a very pretty voice. I actually don't know who does the singing voice for Fluttershy. I don't know if Andrea Libman is actually doing the singing, if it's also Shannon Kent who does Pinkie Pie, if it's someone completely different. But whoever does it, you know, absolutely kills it. Again, like, the singing in the show, I think, is usually very, very, very good. Sorry, I'm just remembering the Christmas Carol episode in season 6, where, like, that's a musical episode, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to Glim Glam as Ebenezer Scrooge, as Snowfall Frost, but as Ebenezer Scrooge. It's like, I hate Christmas because, you know, it's miserable and it takes away productivity. I'm gonna erase it from existence. Like, that's the Starlight Glimmer, I know. If I have a problem, let me just erase it or hypnotize it. Like, that's gold. Anyways, point. Fluttershy loves music and singing, but does not feel comfortable singing in public. I will assume that... I mean, I guess I'll assume then that her part in Best Night Ever doesn't count. Maybe it's non-diegetic. And her duet with Rainbow Dash in May the Best Pet Win also doesn't count because that's not really in public. That's just with her best friend. I'll let those slide, but I am a little bit like... Because that's the thing, too, where I'm like, it's Fluttershy. Yeah, she would have stage fright. That very much makes sense for her character. And I feel like the exceptions to that we've seen, you can kind of explain them away. Like, I'll accept that. So the Ponytones are going to put on a performance, but Big Macintosh can't because he lost his voice. Because the Apple family had their, I think it's annual turkey call competition, and he threw out his voice in the competition, which he lost to Pinkie Pie, who is now considered part of the Apple family. Shout out continuity. And I will be honest, that is like the one funny thing for Pinkie in this. I think there's like a couple things, like some of the ways that she moves. I think at one point she's like climbing up a wall like a spider, and I think that's pretty fun. But, like, no, that's actually, like, funny Pinkie Pie shit. Does it cause the problem in the episode? Yes. But I'm gonna let that slide because there was nothing malicious. There's a little malicious. She's like, I'm gonna win the tournament. Or, like, I'm gonna win the turkey call. I'm like, no, that's fun. That's great. That's Pinkie being, like, a little mischievous and trying to make new memories with her family. I love it. But Big Mac doesn't have his voice. And, the songs need, like, a bass singer, and without him, they can't perform, and Rarity's like, sorry, Fluttershy, we ain't gonna be able to perform for, you know, your animal shelter. Like, it's some kind of event like that. Fluttershy's like, well, I mean, I have an idea. So what they do is, Fluttershy uses Poison Joke to turn into Flutterguy with the deep old voice. And, Big Mac starts lip syncing, so he's just moving his mouth while Fluttershy is actually singing, because now that she's Flutterguy, she has the deep voice and the bass, and they put on the performance, but then there's this little girl that's named Zipperwheel, who's really adorable. She and her dad asked the Ponytones to perform at her quinceañera, and Fluttershy's like, you know, we can't let this little girl down, and then someone else will ask, is like, we can't let them down, etc., 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 and the more that they're performing, the more that Fluttershy is just really getting into it because she can sing, which is something she's good at. It's something she loves doing. But because she's not performing on the stage specifically, no one can see her. It's not triggering her stage fright, so she's having the time of her life. And the more she's getting into it, like, the more she's kind of showing off singing, Big Mac is having a harder time lip syncing, and there's this one scene where they're singing, like, at the school, and Fluttershy is outside, and she's dancing while singing, and Big Mac just looks outside and he sees her and he's starting to sweat because he's like, it's really hard to lip sync when she's going like this hard in her singing. But outside, as Fluttershy's dancing, she's just kind of shaking her ass, and Big Mac is sweating while looking at her ass. And out of context, and even in context, it's really funny. So that happens, and then like during one of the performances, it's the final performance, the curtain falls down, so everyone sees Fluttershy, and Fluttershy is mortified, and she runs off, and her friends go up to her, and what they are trying to say is, Fluttershy, you fucking killed it. That was awesome. You were so... Or actually, right after Applejack's like, Big Mac, you got some explaining to do. You lost your voice? Yup. Poison joke? Yup. Flutter guy? Yup. And just kind of, like, this is what happened? Yeah, okay. Girls, let's go find Fluttershy. So the remaining 5... I don't remember if Spike was there. It sounds like he... It feels like he was, so I'll pretend that he was. They go... comfort Fluttershy. At least they try to, because Pinkie does this whole thing where she's like, yeah, like everyone was watching you, and like the curtain fell and you were there and everyone was watching you and you were mortified and blah 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 blah, which makes Fluttershy start crying, and she runs off again, and the rest of the remaining 5 are like, Pinkie, what the fuck is wrong with you? What do you mean? Like, I told her she was great. No, you didn't. Oh, well, shit, might be. And it's, I don't know. Pinkie is just written really annoying in most of this. Like, her interactions with Fluttershy, she's not being malicious, but I feel like Pinkie is smart enough to not talk to Fluttershy like that. Again, Griffin the brush off. We can prank anyone in town so long as they're not Fluttershy. She understands there is a certain way I have to treat this person because of how timid she is. And maybe she eases up on that because Fluttershy has grown a little bit of a backbone, like after the Iron Will thing. Maybe she just wanted to make Fluttershy cry because Fluttershy made her cry during the Iron Will thing. I don't know, it just doesn't quite work. And like I said, it's the big problem in the episode. And my preference in the episode is just, I think the song is fine. The a cappella song that they sing, I think it's kind of nice. I like it. I don't love it. This would have been really cool to have been a musical episode. Again, we just had one. We don't have to have 2 in a season. But it's like, yeah, if, every time they sang a different song, that would have been really neat. It's a preference, but I'm not really going to hold anything against the episode for that. My favorite moment of the episode, as much as I love Big Mac sweating while watching Fluttershy twerk, is really funny and strange. Genuinely, my favorite part of the episode is Rarity talking to Fluttershy after she's mortified and everything, and she's like, you know what, Fluttershy? Pinkie might have said shit in like a really fucked up kind of way, but she's right. You lived your worst nightmare with everyone watching you performing on stage. Was it really so bad? And Fluttershy she's like, yes? I don't know. Like, maybe it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. And I really like that. I just love the way Rarity phrases it. And that's kind of a really good way of explaining the moral of the episode. Maybe it's like, don't be afraid of stage fright. Like, don't let fear keep you from doing stuff you want to do. Feel the fear and do it anyway. But I like the way that's phrased. Imagine living through your worst nightmare. Is it really that bad? Huh. Maybe not. So it can be worth the risk. I really like that. I also like how at the end of the episode, after they give a performance, someone else, I don't remember what the next thing that's proposed. It's like, hey, you've been requested to give this performance. Can you do it? And Fluttershy's like, nope, can't do it. And it almost feels like it's being set up as a joke, like, no, I refuse. Huh? I'm just kidding. I feel good enough for it. But it doesn't end like that. She's like, no, but Fluttershy, like, we thought you'd gotten over your stage fright. A little bit. I'll get there. But for now, this is what I'm comfortable with. Which I also love. Like, it's kind of a sub-moral as well. It's like, yeah, broaden your horizons. Don't let fear keep you from doing things that you love or from trying new experiences, so long as they're safe. But also understand your own boundaries. Don't go so far out of your comfort zone that, like, be willing to kind of experiment with fear, I guess, but understand your boundaries and your limits. And I really like that. This is an episode to me that is so close to being up here. It is just like, if it wasn't for how badly Pinkie is written, it would be an easy S tier. It might even be up here. As such, I'm like, I think it is genuinely one of the best morals in the show. Again, it's just the way that Rarity explains it. Like, was your worst nightmare really that bad? It's something that's just been kind of in my head the last few days. Not even in a situation where I'm like, I need to face my own fears kind of situation. Like, it's just kind of been in there, and I'm like, we're putting a pin in that. Like, I like that a lot. I think I have to keep it an S. Like, it really resonated with me, and I think it's just a really strong Fluttershy episode. It's just, man, I hate the way Pinkie is written here. It could have maybe been the king of the season, but as is, it's only really good. No, I mean, baby? I don't think so. It's Twilight Time, baby. So, this is another Crusader episode. It's one it is about the whole squad, but it feels like it's a little more Sweetie Belle centric. So the plot of the episode is the Simsa have this thing they do every week called Twilight Time, where they go over to the library, they hang out with Twilight. Twilight teaches them some kind of skill. Scootaloo is working on mechanics of being able to, like, take apart a scooter and put it together. Sweetie Belle is working on levitation magic, which is kind of a thing I realize is, like, have we seen Sweetie Belle use magic in the show? She tries earlier in the season, in the premiere, where ponies are trying to use magic and it's kind of getting fucked with and not working right. I don't think she's used magic before that. Is she also a late bloomer? Does she have a disability? Like, I don't know. Like, that's interesting. It's weird because, like, before this episode, it was noticeable that Scootaloo couldn't fly. Because you see her flapping her wings and, like, hovering, but not being able to have sustained flight. But I had never really thought about how Sweetie Belle doesn't use magic in the show. And just like, yeah, that is weird. And then you have Apple Bloom, who, thinking back to Showstoppers, where it shows how uncoordinated she is and how Scootaloo is the one that should be the choreographer and the dancing, but it says Apple Bloom doing it and she doesn't know what she's doing, which makes me go, maybe she's not the best. I don't want to say it like that, but it's like, like she doesn't, how do I want to say it? I guess like she's, like a weaker Earth pony, especially when you compare it to like her siblings, who are both shown to be incredibly fucking strong, like seem to be very well coordinated. Like, the Pegasus who can't fly, the unicorn who doesn't use magic, and the Earth pony that like trips over her own hooves and like isn't as well coordinated. That's actually really interesting, and I never really noticed that. Anyways, and then, yeah, Apple Bloom's thing is that she's working on potions, which is something we've seen earlier, and that, like, she has that friendship with Sakura. I'm like, this is really neat. And one of the things I really like about it is it kind of gives this vibe that Twilight Time is not them going, hey, let's get our cutie marks in this, let's get our cutie marks in this, and is almost genuinely like, I want to learn something for the sake of learning and being able to spend time with a friend of mine. Cool, let's go. And Twilight's like, dude, I love this. I love being able to teach people new things. I'm someone who is a sucker for learning, and if I can, you know, encourage the next generation to learn too, I'm going to do that 10 times out of 10. And honestly, if that's all the episode was, I maybe would like it a little bit more. I still like it. I still have a genuine soft spot for this episode, but I just love that. But that's the setup. What the episode is actually about is the other kids at school are making fun of the Crusaders. Like, yeah, you guys don't do shit. It's not even that. It's Diamond Tiara goes to school and is like, I'm gonna show off how cool I am. But then has her butler do all the cool shit, and they're like, Diamond Tiara is such a piece of shit. Like, she doesn't even do anything herself. She's ass. We're actually learning stuff. We're gonna go hang out with Twilight. And Diamond Tiara overhears this. They're like, whoa, you guys are friends with Twilight? I mean, I know who she is, and before I was like, yeah, she's, you know, a bookworm. She's, I don't know, she's kind of a neurotic weirdo, but sure, whatever. She's the prodigy of the princess. But now she's a princess. Now she, to use a rarity term, is the type of pony every pony should know. And I'm filthy stinkin' rich. I mean, that's my dad's name. I don't know if Stinkin' is his middle name, but I can only hope. But I am the daughter of Filthy Stinkin' Rich. I need to be schmoozing with a princess. Can you introduce me? And Scootaloo and Applebloom are immediately like, no. Why would we do anything for you? Twilight Time is our time with our friend. We don't want this to happen. And Sweetie was like, hold on a second. Girls, think of it like this. If we are genuinely friends with Twilight. We were friends of hers, not wanting anything out of it. And us having Twilight Time is something that we had with no ulterior motives. It was just we wanted to learn shit, and we wanted to spend time with a friend. But if we can get something out of it, like if we can get some extra popularity and some extra points with the rest of our school and our classmates, maybe we should. And it's interesting because I feel like it's really the first time we've seen this side of Sweetie Belle, but it's not the last. And there's a part of me, especially when we get to this episode, where I'm like, where I'm like, this feels, actually no, because this is episode 18, isn't it? Yeah, I think that's actually right. Where I was like, this feels a little out of character because I've never really seen Sweetie Belle act this way, especially toward Rarity. But at the same time, I'm like, well, she is growing up. You know, I don't know how long every season is in terms of the actual length in the show, but I mean, Winter Wrap-Up is episode 11, and it's the first day of spring, and then Fall Weather Friends is the first episode of fall, and it's 2 episodes later. So I can only assume I feel like it's been a few years, but this is the Summer Sun celebration, and I don't remember if they say it's the first Summer Sun celebration since episode 1, which would mean that seasons 1 through 3 took place over the course of a year. I don't know, because there's some parts of it where I'm like, that doesn't sound right. I don't know if that sounds right. So I'm just going to assume it's been a couple years or so. So I can see that, no, Sweetie Belle is growing up. And she's now kind of in that middle school, like junior high, maybe high school mentality. Given their age, it's maybe probably more junior high of, I want to be popular. I want my peer, like, it goes beyond just, I don't want to be bullied, and no, I want them to like me. I want them to accept me. I want what they have, that being Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon. And her wanting to use the relationship with Twilight to her advantage. And Apple Bloom and Sweetie Belle going, or excuse me, Apple Bloom and Scootaloo going, I mean, sure, but I mean, if you really want to do this and you're like, trust me, it'll be fine, I got this, like, we'll trust you, but I don't know. So it's Twilight Time, and Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon go, and they just want to hang out with Twilight, and Twilight's like, I don't mind, but maybe you should tell me next time you're gonna bring people over. And all the other kids just want to hang out with Twilight, and there's this time when the Crusaders go with her to eat lunch, and Twilight's just scarfing down like 8 hamburgers and 3 things of fries. And it's really funny to see her be the super messy eater, while the paparazzi is outside, like, taking pictures of her. There's this line where Scootaloo is smiling for a picture. Like, God, Scoot, stop smiling. You know, like, you're making it more obvious. I can't help it. You know, if I don't smile in a picture, I look really depressed. I don't know what made me laugh. Twilight ends up saying, so the Crusaders' friends just start doing, friends, quote unquote, the classmates, start doing them a bunch of favors to get in their good graces so that they'll let them meet Twilight. And the Crusaders afterwards are just kind of like, oh, that's why they were being super nice to us and, like, doing shit for us. Oh, I just thought it was we were cool now. I didn't know there were strings attached. Whoops. So the other kids go to Twilight to essentially tell her that, and Twilight's like, okay. So what happens is the other kids are like, see, they don't actually care. You know, they just wanted to, you know, show off their popularity and blah, 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 blah. And the Crusaders like, no, that's not true. Like, we genuinely wanted to learn. We just wanted to spend time with you. And Twilight's like, okay, prove it. I mean, if you guys are genuinely cared about the time you spent with me and the things I was teaching you in these lessons so much, you've practiced this past week, right? You've improved, or at least shown some deeper understanding of these things, right? And they completely fail. And I think in Apple Bloom's case, probably did literally blow up in her face. And, you know, Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon are laughing at them. It's like, see, they didn't actually come here because they wanted to learn, to which Twilight just kind of glares at them and says, neither did you. Neither did any of you. Get out. So all the other kids leave, and the Crusaders make their apology, which is for all intents and purposes like, look, we did fuck up. We genuinely did. Like, we came with the best of intentions. But when we saw the opportunity for popularity, we latched onto that, and we really shouldn't have done that. Because it meant we were taking advantage of your friendship and the time you were giving us. And that's just not okay. That's just not something we should be doing. We're sorry. And Twilight's like, you know what? You are genuinely my friends, and I really feel that apology. I'm gonna let it slide. So they are allowed to continue their Twilight Time, and, like, that's the episode. And like I said, if it was just an episode about them hanging out with Twilight and learning shit, I don't know, I think I would have just really liked it anyways. But no, actually talking about it and thinking about it, I do like the more junior high politics, not quite Mean Girls, but kind of Mean Girly shit going on. It's not an S tier episode, but I honestly have a strong soft spot for it. I really like Twilight Time. Then we have It Ain't Easy Being Breezy, which is, as you can tell from the screen cap, it's Fluttershy's key episode. It's bad. It's really bad. It's not good. That's what bad means. That's what really bad means. What happens in this episode is the Breezies are flying through Ponyville on their way back to their home, which they have to go through a magic portal to get through. And they are so small and so frail and so weak that they need a breeze to be activated, or like they need the Pegasi to make a breeze for them. If the breeze is too strong, they'll, you know, get fucked up by it. So essentially they have to be incredibly coddled to the point where it's not really fun to watch. It's just a little annoying. Like, this is, I don't know. It's just kind of me watching this and going, how is this species still around? Like, how did the laws of evolution not take care of this? Like, how did your entire species not win a Darwin Award, you know? But, there is literally a scene where, like, as they're flying, a leaf, not even like a giant leaf, just a regular-sized leaf gets caught up in the breeze, interrupts their line, and they can't move forward, which I was laughing my ass off at because I'm a huge fan of A Bug's Life. I'm just remembering that scene near the beginning of the movie where a leaf falls and the ants start freaking out. And that, what's his name, Mr. Soil, I think, is like, okay, we're gonna go around the leaf. Around the leaf? I don't know if we could do that. Oh, there's nothing compared to the twig of 93. That's it. That's it. You're doing great. There you go. There you go. Watch my eyes. Don't look away. And there's the line again. Like, I love that shit so much. And just watching that scene, like, this is a far less funny version of that scene from A Bug's Life. But it's reminding me of something I like. So at least I'm smiling. So, because of the leaf incident, a chunk of the Breezies aren't able to go back home. Now they're kind of exhausted. They need a rest. And Fluttershy's like, cool, tell you what. Come over to my place. You can spend a few hours there. Resting, relaxing, getting your strength back. Like, mentally calming down. And then we'll try this shit again. The majority of the Breezes at Fluttershy's house don't want to leave and don't want to go back home because Fluttershy is the ultimate host. She's very kind, she's very providing, anything like food, water, shelter, they have all of that. To the point where, like, they are feigning injuries and sickness so they don't have to leave Fluttershy. The exception is this one little bastard named Seabreeze. Seabreeze is easily the best part of the episode. Seabreeze is constantly talking shit to and about the other Breezies. He's like, these idiots. And, like, I love his voice and his accent. It's so awesome. He's just calling them idiots. He's calling them annoying. He's calling them useless and just saying, I just want to go home. We have a certain amount of time until, like, the portal to our home closes. And if we don't go, we might miss our chance. And the longer that these useless idiots just sit here partying at Fluttershy's, the worse our chances of making it back home get. And the fact that Fluttershy, you are letting them get away with that, is bothering me. And eventually he goes off on his own. He is nearly killed. Fluttershy saves his life. And they have a conversation. Which essentially amounts to Seabreeze saying that. It's like, we have to go home. We don't belong here. It's not safe outside of your house. And we can't just stay inside your house forever. We have lives. We have friends. We have families. We need to go. And Fluttershy realizing that sometimes the kindest thing you can do is tell somebody no. Is to give somebody tough love. So she essentially tells the rest of the Breezies, mi casa no longer su casa. You need to go. Now, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure you are able to get there safely. But you have to go. So they go, and for this to work, the main six end up getting turned into Breezies, and I just don't really like how they look. Like, this is a little gross. But they make it, and the Breezies are reunited with their families, who they didn't want to go see because they just wanted to chill at Fluttershy's. Except Seabreeze, who has a little baby and a wife, and you're like, I already liked you, and now all of your just being an asshole tendencies are fully justified. And the fact that all of these other Breezies had loved ones that they didn't, like, they would have rather stayed at Fluttershy's than come see. Oh, man, I hate these people so much. I don't mind Fluttershy in this episode. I think she's being herself, which is like, I am very nice. I want to look after... I want to look after the animals, and I want to look after the poor defenseless creatures. And I like the moral she learns, which is, yeah, sometimes you have to be able to tell somebody no. Sometimes you have to kind of be the jerk in a situation, but it can work out in the end, you know, if you're really doing the right thing. And I absolutely love Seabreeze. But again, it's just one of those episodes where I'm like, aside from Seabreeze, it's just not really that funny, and I don't find the Breezies all that interesting or endearing. It's just kind of I will say I expected the episode to be a lot worse than it actually was. Like, I was prepared to go in and hate this episode because I remembered really, really hating this episode. As is, I think it's not good, but it's not really that bad either. It's like a C or a D. I think Seabreeze at least, like, puts it up to a C. Would I really put it above these two? Like, maybe this is more of a C tier. Like, it's just kind of mid-episode. Because I don't even think it's that disappointing. It's just... I do think it's worse Wonderbolt Academy, but if Wonderbolt's a S-tier episode, being C is kind of fair. I don't know. I feel like this is kind of a D-tier episode, though. It just doesn't do it for me at all. And even seeing Daring do cool shit isn't... Sorry, I'm just like, Daring Doo-Doo. It's just not even, like, that cool or that fun. It doesn't hit me the way that Seabreeze just being Squidward hits me. So I'm going to take a quick drink of water. Okay. Somepony to watch over me. This is a D tier episode. I'm gonna be completely honest. This one is not good. This is an episode where the Apple family, specifically Applejack, Big Mac, and Granny Smith, are gonna go make deliveries. They are going to different parts of Equestria, and they are leaving Apple Bloom behind to look after the farm. And I feel like the first scene of the episode is fantastic. It is like again, it's those three members of the Apple family in a closed room having a conversation. Apple Bloom and her friends waiting outside, waiting for them to deliberate. And when the three come out, they're like, okay, we have decided, we have deliberated, we made a collective decision. You are old enough and responsible enough to look after the place while we're gone. And Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo start celebrating. Apple Bloom just calms them down like, no, girls. I humbly accept, I don't remember exactly what she says, but something along the lines of, I humbly accept the council's decision. And the three of them, like the three kids, just walk around the corner all dignified, and then they start screaming with excitement. I'm like, I love this. This is so true. Like, when I was a kid, one of the things I wanted, like, so bad was to be able to just be home alone. Not because I'm like, yeah, like, here's all the cool, like, naughty shit I'm gonna do. It was just, I don't know, it's just kind of cool. I mean, like, yeah, you're old enough. We trust you enough that you can just stay in the house by yourself. And, like, we know that you're not gonna get into anything. Like, you're not gonna do anything you're not supposed to. You can just chill. It's just kind of a nice feeling. And I believe that for me it was 10 is when I was able to do that. Because I remember it was a specific age. It wasn't just like, yeah, you're at a point where we trust you. I was kind of told, when you're this many years old, once you hit this age, that's kind of when we think you'll be able to do it. And I believe it was 10. And I don't know, just like, I understand that. I've been there. I mean, like, I want to get to that point where I have that level of trust. So Apple Bloom's reaction, I think, is great. So then what makes it such a D tier episode? Well, Applejack's like, shoot, like, I'm just really worried about my kid sister. So I'm going to go back and see her make sure she's okay. And she does, and Applejack suddenly walking into the house scares the shit out of Apple Bloom, which causes her to fall, and, like, something breaks, and Applejack's like, oh, shit. Clearly you weren't ready at all, because you fucking stumbled a little bit. Oh my goodness, I was so wrong to do this. You know what? I'm not even gonna do my delivery anymore. Fuck my delivery. I'm gonna make sure you're okay. And I'm like, you know, given that this is the character who 2 seasons ago was taught a lesson about economics, and then said, I didn't learn anything, after she was proven to be explicitly wrong in how she was handling her business, I'm not surprised that she would say, fuck the delivery I have to make, screw my job. Which, granted, you know, you can argue, you know, family's supposed to become before business and whatnot, but I'm like, I don't know, this sounds like the kind of stupid thing Applejack would do. But she's so protective and possessive of Apple Bloom, to the point where it's not fun, it's annoying. And that's the point. Apple Bloom is very annoyed by it. She calls her friends over who are like, yeah, that sounds really fucking annoying, I'm sorry. But it's not funny, at least for me. I'm just annoyed. I'm like, I get it. Applejack lost her parents. She has had to raise Apple Bloom. Along with Big Macintosh and along with Granny Smith, they have all raised Apple Bloom. But Applejack is kind of, like, she's the big sister, but she's also kind of Apple Bloom's mom. And so I understand why she's so protective. It's like, look, like, I don't want my little girl alone and scared. I don't want her getting injured. I've lost people in the family. I don't want to lose someone again. And again, it's the kind of things that go unsaid in this episode, but you understand it. But even with that, it's just kind of a bit much. It's not very fun. But Apple Bloom sneaks off. She's like, I'm going to do the delivery myself. And she ends up fighting a chimera. And, I mean, the chimera's kind of fun. And when Applejack realizes Apple Bloom left, she's like, oh my god. She's fucked. Because she doesn't know what she's up against. Like, she didn't bring the fire-resistant boot. She didn't bring, like, she didn't bring the ricotta cheese for the goat head. She didn't bring, I don't remember what it was for the snake head. Maybe it was just like a lasso. She didn't bring the fucking chair to fight the tiger head. I have to go save my sister's life. And then that happens, and she's like, see, you're not ready for this. I had to come save your ass. And Apple Bloom's like, I literally delivered this cart all the way this far by myself. And, like, the chimeras didn't eat it. I can also do this by myself. And Applejack's like, you know what? Okay, maybe you are grown enough, blah, blah, blah. And, like, it has a climax, and it has a really fun climax. Like, I like the monster they fight, and I like those first few minutes. And again, it's like, I kind of like what's unsaid from Applejack's perspective. But it's a comedic episode that's not funny. That I just find super annoying, and even if I get why Applejack would act like this, it still just doesn't feel quite right. I just don't think this episode is good. It's not F tier bad or bottom of the fucking barrel bad, but it's just, I don't like it. Then we get to Mod Pie, the episode that introduces Pinkie's sister, who wasn't in her backstory in season 1, despite her parents and other 2 sisters being there. So I feel like this is a retcon. But you can make the argument that maybe because Maud is the eldest sister, Maud had already left the farm and was, you know, doing other shit. Like, she was getting, what do they call it? Like, her rocktorate, because, haha, she likes rocks. Again, it's like, I feel like it's just kind of a continuity error, but I can justify it in my head, so I'm not gonna harp on it. Also, I don't want to say anything bad about this episode. So there you go. This episode is perfect. This episode is so fun. It's so funny because Maud is a perfect character. She is a fantastic complement to Pinkie Pie, who is nothing but energy and excitement, and Maud is just slow moving, has like no expression, takes things very literally. She's in her own world the way that Pinkie is in her own world, but it's still a very different world. Like, Pinkie's world is just like fucking Candyland, and Maud's world is just, I don't know, like, it's just a bunch of rocks everywhere. It's just like a rock quarry. Like, I don't know. It's her interactions with the main six are so funny. Like, anything she says is just like so perfectly delivered with like almost no inflection, but not in a bad way. Not in a way it's like, I have no emotion and don't know how to person. It's done in a way that just, it contrasts the general vibe and energy of the show so well. I love the scene where the main six at the end of the episode, or the remain five, because Pinkie loves her sister, because the rest of the remain five want to become friends with Maud, because Pinkie was like, my best friends and my sister, I want y'all to be besties. They just don't click. They are trying their best to befriend Maud, and they're like, Pinkie, this ain't it. Like, we love you, and we're glad you love your sister, but it just ain't it. But then, Maud's like, look, I can tell that they don't really care for me, and that's fine, it is what it is. I don't want to, like, I'm on vacation, I want to see my sister, but I don't want my presence to, like, fuck with anything, so I'm just kind of gonna go home for the rest of my vacation. Which breaks Pinkie's heart, and the remain five are like, man, are we the assholes here? Yeah, we're the assholes here. We need to fix this. So they go to the rock farm with Pinkie to head off Maud. They're like, look, maybe we don't have a lot in common. Maybe there's not a lot that we can vibe on. But here's the thing we know. You love your sister, and we love your sister. And even if there's not a lot else that we really can talk about, that's something we have in common. Like, you ever heard that song, Breakfast at Tiffany's? I believe the band is Deep Blue something, where essentially the entire song is about a couple who are going through a rough patch and realizing how different they are from each other and how they have nothing in common until the singer's like, hey, I don't know, do you remember that time that we watched Breakfast at Tiffany's together? Yeah? What'd you think of it? I don't know. I think I liked it. What is it? I said, I think I remember the film, and as I recall, I think we both kind of liked it. And I said, well, that's the one thing we got. He's like, hey, do you remember when we watched that movie? Yeah, what do you think of it? I mean, I remember we both kind of liked it. There we go. That's something we have in common. We're not that different after all. We both liked Breakfast at Tiffany's. Which is a movie I've actually never seen, but I've heard it's great. I should probably watch. I think it's like one of my sister's favorite movies, and I should watch it at some point. Anyways, the remain five Breakfast at Tiffany's mod, not because they're singing Moon River, like the song Breakfast at Tiffany's, and Maud's like, yeah, sure. They're like, Maud, do you want to become friends with us and like go back to town? Sure. And it's delivered like that. There's like no emotion, just like, yeah, sure. And they're all like really upset, like, oh, we kind of prepared this speech, and we really bought it, and these friendship speeches usually work. I just thought she'd be a little more excited. Pinkie's like, are you fucking kidding me? She's so excited. I've never seen my sister this excited before. And Pinkie's like, yeah, or Maud's like, yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but I show enthusiasm a lot differently from my sister, as Pinkie is in the background doing cartwheels. It's great. And the very end of the episode, because the thing Pinkie wanted to do the entire time is exchange rock candy necklaces with her sister, which is something they always do. It's like making a friendship bracelet, but then you eat the bracelet afterwards. And at the end of the episode, they finally exchange their necklaces, and Pinkie just is immediately eating it and having a good time. And Maud just takes out this chest, opens the chest that's full of these necklaces, and just drops the new one in. And Spark sees her doing this, like, wait, are those all of the necklaces Pinkie Pie's giving you? Mm-hmm. And the way that is delivered is so funny to me, because it's just that tone of, yup, I've kept them all. It is not something, like, she explains it in a second, but the tone conveys all of the emotions. This is something I do. It is not something that I don't particularly care for the act itself. It just kind of means nothing for me. But I do it because it makes her happy. And that girl right there, my sister, her happiness means the world to me. So if I have to do something that doesn't really mean much to me, but means the world to her, I will do it 101 times out of 100. And I really like that. And then she explains, she's like, I don't like candy. I don't like eating it. But I do love my sister. And I like it. It's just, this episode introduces a fantastic character. And, like, given how much she becomes a recurring character throughout the show, like, she'll get an episode or two per season. And it's kind of weird thinking, it's like, yeah, such a surprisingly prominent character wasn't introduced till what, episode, like, 80? Okay. I know it's 91 episodes to this point. 91, 90, 89, 87, 86, 85. Wait, I thought this was 86. Hold up. 91, 90, 89, 87, 88. Wait, what the fuck? I don't know. 87, 88. That's not how counting backwards works, moron. 89, 88, 87, yeah, 86, 85, 84. It takes 83 episodes to introduce, like, probably one of the more, like, genuinely, like, beloved characters in the show. It's a fantastic introduction. I love, like, every scene with her is gold, and almost every episode, or every scene in the episode has her in it. The main six trying to become her, or the remain five trying to befriend her, is just consistently funny. Their reactions to her are great. The ending of the episode is great. This is where I start to go, like, maybe there's too many episodes in the S tier. This might be the one that's like, alright, maybe we gotta start cutting some down. I don't know. Maybe we'll hold off on it for a bit. But this is for sure an S fucking tier episode. And we get this one. We get Sweetie Belle's Luna episode, For Whom the Sweetie Belle Tolls. And I'm gonna be honest, I just really like that title. I think it's really fun. Okay, I have to go on a quick tangent. This one will actually be quick. One of my favorite things in Fate Go is First Hassan, aka Grandpa, and his noble phantasm. Where it's like some of the dialogue he has it is, I think it's like, for whom the bell tolls, or it's like the bell tolls for you. And then he brings his sword down, and then you just hear a bell in the background, just like gong, gong. Now my understanding is that because, like, when something dies in Fate Go, its health goes to 0, you see it on screen, and then it disappears. And then if it's a servant, you'll see it, like, they'll kind of say some shit, and then they'll disappear, and it's kind of slow. If it's a regular enemy, they disappear a little quicker. If something is killed by Azrael, which I believe that's the name of his noble phantasm, you don't see them disappear. They're just... See, what the fuck? They're just gone. And my understanding is that was a glitch. And... they had fixed the glitch at one point, and then the player base wrote back to them and said, no, keep that, that's awesome. The fact that he is First Hassan, like, this is where the term assassin comes from, is this dude. He is the grand assassin. Like, in the fight against Tiamat in Babylon, the only reason they're able to kill her is because he is so badass. His mere presence, again, it's a little more complicated than that, because, like, blah, 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 blah. His mere presence puts the concept, not even just the fear, but the concept of death into this primordial immortal being, and that's what allows the characters to kill it. That's how cool this dude is. So the fact that when he kills something with his noble phantasm, it does a different death animation because there is no animation. It's just gone. It's just deleted because for whom did the Sweetie Belle toll? It told for thee. Is so fucking cool, man. Random tangent over. Let's actually talk about the episode. So what happens in the episode is Sweetie Belle is putting on a play with the other Crusaders. And one thing I do really like about this is you get a Scootaloo episode, an Apple Bloom episode, a Sweetie Belle episode, and just like a full-on whole Crusader episode. I actually really like that because there's not really a Scootaloo episode in Season 1 or Season 2. It's like, there's one for Apple Bloom. Yeah, Apple Bloom gets one in Season 1 and in Season 2. Sweetie Belle gets one in Season 2. I don't think Apple Bloom and Sweetie Belle get one in... Well, yeah, they don't get one in Season 3. There's a whole Crusader episode, of course, that being Babs, and Apple Bloom is pretty heavily featured in Apple Family Reunion, but it's an Applejack episode, or it's an Apple Family episode. But they don't get individual ones. And I like how Season 4 gives a group episode and then all the individuals. But anyways, point. They're putting on a play that Sweetie Belle wrote, Sweetie Belle directed, Sweetie Belle starred in, and I see that trifecta and I'm like, oh man, I hope I get to see this play. This is gonna be the Friendship is Magic equivalent of The Room, which granted is kind of what Showstoppers is. I mean, like, their performance, not like the episode is so bad it's good. But you don't actually get to see it. It just kind of cuts to, like, fuck, what is the first part of it? Like, Sweetie Belle just walks up to her friends in character, in costume, and she's like, how doth thou, feel today, m'ladies? And some shit like that. Like, this would have been gold to watch. And everyone, with the exception of Spike, because Spike's like, no, like, I really enjoyed that. That was really fun. You guys had a great time. I loved it. Everyone else in the audience is like, wow, that was, boy, those dresses your sister made were, like, really good. Yeah, they were. What did you think of the actual show? Like, did you like the acting? Did you like the script? It was, boy, those dresses your sister made were really good. Because Sweetie Belle wanted to do everything herself. She did not want Rarity to actually design the dresses for her play. Because she did not want to be upstaged. Like, this is my project. I'm going to do, like, I am either going to sink or swim with it. But I will be happy knowing it's mine. But the things that she made are, like, super fucking ratty and disgusting. Which, again, shout out to Showstoppers. I mean, I'm sorry, Showstoppers is such a funny episode. Like, I don't think I would retroactively put it into S tier or anything, but, like, I feel like I have such a huge appreciation for that episode. But, she wanted to go to Rare to be like, okay, can you maybe help me a little bit with these, like, kind of touch them up, and Rarity is like, okay, I mean, with all due respect, those are fucking dog shit. If you're gonna give a performance, this is something that you made yourself, like, that you wrote, you're directing, you were starring in. I want you to look your best. I want your friends to look your best. I will do this for you. While at the same time, she is very busy because she has a big order to fill for Sapphire Shores, who she is a designer for. Which, I remember when I watched Dog and Pony Show, I was like, does Sapphire Shores show up again? I don't remember. I think there's been another episode in, like, Season 2, or probably not Season 3. I think in Season 2 where she makes a cameo. So it was probably Sweet and Elite, but she's actually in this episode. I was like, cool, she does show up again. That's dope as hell. What was I saying? So Rarity is super busy with this order, but she's like, okay, I will make time to make my sister these dresses for her show. She's unable to go to the show because she has to finish the order for Sapphire Shores. Sweetie Belle comes home and is really pissed that Rarity... this is not what she intends, but it does kind of come across as, how dare you help me with something that I asked you for? How dare you do an incredibly good job with it? And how dare you neglect an important business opportunity and then pull an all-nighter pulling off because I asked you to do something? Fuck you! And granted, again, like, she's, like, in junior high, I think is about as old as Sweetie Belle is. I get that she's being a little shit. Like, I don't think it just makes her super unlikable or anything, but I'm like, it's not the best look. And if it wasn't for her characterization in Twilight Time, I would think it really comes right the hell out of nowhere. But she does talk about how Rarity has this bad habit of always upstaging her. And how it's like, this is like my 5th birthday party all over again, where, you know, I wanted to be the belle of the ball. I wanted to be the star of the show. You know, I wanted to be the kind of pony that every pony should know. And, you know, Rarity upstaged me, like, her party favors were so good that no one cared about me, and blah, 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 blah. And it's, okay, this feels like it's coming out of nowhere. Like, I'm sorry, like, I feel like, and again, maybe it is just like, you know, that she's getting older and she's more aware of herself and her relationships, that she's more sensitive to this kind of thing. But I feel like if she's saying Rarity has always been doing this to me ever since I was, like, 10 years ago, it feels like it's kind of coming out of nowhere, if I'm being honest. And what Sweetie Belle decides to do is like, you know what? If this opportunity for my sister is so good and so important, I'm going to ruin it for her the way that she ruined my big show and has ruined my whole life. So she undoes one of the stitches in the headdress piece that Rarity has essentially said, like, this is the creme de la creme, the pièce de résistance of all the outfits that I'm making for Sapphire Shores. It is incredibly fucking important. Then Sweetie Belle goes to sleep, all content with herself, and I can only describe it as we start seeing Sweetie Belle's somnium. Like, it is literally, like, we see some shit, and they kind of have to do some events, which leads to playing out, like, more of the episode, or, like, more of, like, showing what happened that day, and Sweetie going, oh, man, this is how it made me feel, before going to the next day. Like, this is literally how, like, a somnium is designed in AI. Oh, this is awesome. Like, I love this. I think, like, in terms of its visuals and how it's presented, it's a better version of the Scootaloo episode. I think the Scootaloo episode, for me, is a better episode overall. Because, like I've said, I kind of have some problems with this episode. We'll get to some of the other shit in a bit. But I just love, like, the way the dream is done. Like, this is great. This is fantastic. I have no idea what happens in Apple Blooms. I don't remember it at all. I just know what happened. I know it's next season. It's like episode 5 or 6. It happens pretty early in the season. So we'll get to it. But, Sweetie Belle is just kind of shown, you know, like, how hard Rarity has worked for her and, like, getting all the dresses done, which makes her feel like shit. And how, you know, Rarity never actually upstaged Sweetie Belle at her own party. In fact, she was trying to save the party and kind of help Sweetie Belle save face, but Sweetie didn't actually know that, or she's like, oh man, I am a piece of shit. And then Luna's like, hey, here's the bad future that Rarity is in for. And she's like, oh no, I'm a piece of shit. So she wakes up to try to, you know, save the outfit, and Rarity's already on her way to Canterlot. She's like, oh, fuck. So she calls up the girls. They go. She gets her own gaggle of girls. She gets her trio to, I just realized that they're the Powerpuff Girls. I don't know if this is the first time I've ever thought of that, but here's the red one with the bow, who's the leader of the team. I mean, I feel like Apple Bloom is kind of the leader of the team. Like, they're first met from her perspective, and in some episodes, like, this one is more of, like, Sweetie Belle being the leader, but I feel like you can make an argument that it's Apple Bloom. And then you've got the tomboy one. It's just like, that's definitely Buttercup, and Sweetie Belle is generally, the very nice one, bubbly, adorable one, and that's Bubbles. Like, oh my god, they are just the fucking Powerpuff Girls. Powerpuff Girls was one of my favorite shows on Cartoon Network. I would, excluding, like, Toonami or anything like that, Powerpuff Girls and Courage, I think I'd probably say are my top two. Maybe Teen Titans as well. I think I would give it to Powerpuff Girls overall. And maybe if Clay and I watch more Adventure Time, which we really, really, really need to, because boy, I was loving Adventure Time and I miss watching it. Maybe Adventure Time could actually, like, really get up there too. Anyways, sorry. I had a fucking spiritual awakening. It is a somnium afterwards. Like, oh, I now understand. Like, that's one of the keys. Still need to make that video, and I do plan on doing that. I know I had said I don't want to continue Season 5 until after I'm done with the Season 4 stuff. There's a chance I'll watch some Season 5 tonight, because I'll probably finish recording this tonight. I don't know if you can see the time. It's like 8 o'clock, which means I still have plenty of time. I don't want to get, like, too much further in Season 5 before I do the Somnium video. Like, I want to record that. It's Monday night. I want to record that Tuesday. I want to get it done. It's important to me that I get it done. Anyway, point. They have, like, a Scooby-Doo chase where they're trying to get the headdress back so Sweetie Belle can fix it, and eventually they do, and Rarity's like, what the fuck is this? Why are you doing this? Do you know how important this is to me? Yes. Yes, I do. And that's why I fucked it up. And then I realized that was a terrible thing. It made me a bad person. So I'm trying to fix this. So the situation gets fixed. And Sapphire Shores is appeased. She is pleased. And Luna shows up. There is a pretty funny scene where Luna just kind of shows up. And Sweetie Belle's like, oh god. Or like, thank god. This means I'm still dreaming. Which means I have time to fix it. And Luna's like, no. Like, I live here in Canterlot. This is dead ass actually happening. You're running out of time, kiddo, and it's pretty fun, but, Luna does end up doing Sweetie Belle a solid. Sweetie Belle's social link with Rarity goes up. And there is a bit there's a line she has near the end that I really like when Rarity's like, I'm sorry that I upstaged your show, like, I really wasn't trying to, and Sweetie going, it's, in hindsight, my show was kind of dog shit anyways. I think... between you and me, I think the costumes really were the best part. And I think it's really sweet. I really like it, and I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't like it this much. I can't say I like it this. I feel like I would put it... I think this feels about right. Maybe here on a good day. And I've had a good day. I will put it up there. Who's gonna stop me? Me? No. But it is kind of like, I could see it being here. Maybe I respect it more than I like it, but I do think I genuinely like it. I think, again, I really love how the dream looks. I think that does a lot for me in terms of this episode. I think, fuck, what was I trying to say? Here, let me get a drink of water, and hopefully it'll recalibrate my brain and my thoughts. Get another one. There we go. I think the dream shit is great. I think part of it is after this episode. I think seeing Sweetie Belle being actively malicious is weird, but it's kind of fun. I like the realization she does come to at the end of the episode. Not just the sense of, you know, my sister has done a lot for me and I should appreciate her more and she's great, but also that, you know what, my show was dog shit. And I don't know, like, it takes a certain level of, like, self-reflection and clarity to be able to do that. You know, I've talked a lot on this channel about, like, how I love writing. I love telling stories. I love coming up with shit. I'll be the first to tell you not everything I've made is gold. Not everything I've made is good. My first book is not good. I have a soft spot for it. Of course I do. There's things about it that I still like and can appreciate. It's not good. The pacing is awful. The main character is just super unlikable. I kind of see myself in Sweetie Belle here. I mean, I was about to say, you know, except for the whole sabotaging my sister thing, but then I had a memory that I will share. So, I was 6, 7, somewhere around that age. My sister and I each had, I don't know if I've ever told this story on this channel before, where we both had our Game Boys and we each had a copy of Pokemon Red, and my sister was a lot further than me, and I was very jealous that she was further than me because stupid child. So my brain went, I'm gonna get further than her. No one gets further than me. So I took a bobby pin and I just, because you know, like a Game Boy, like you slide the game in. I just like put a bobby pin in there so that way she couldn't get her game in, and it worked, and it actually was in there for a while, and I was like, now I'm gonna get further than her. And even before they realized it was me that did it, like, hey, well, since your Game Boy isn't working, like, you guys will kind of have to share a Game Boy. I was like, no, my brilliant plan! Now I have less time! This is bullshit! And eventually, you know, it got found out, so, I was found out, I was in trouble, they fixed the shit, blah, 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 and it wasn't instant karma, but I got my karma, and I think it's funny, it's something I could laugh about. It's also it's not like a horrible thing, but it's a stupid thing that I did. It's a bad thing I did. It's a malicious thing that I did. So I'm like, you know what? I actually can see myself. You know what? It's not even like maybe it's here, maybe it's here. It's here. It's not up here for sure. I think with the season that has been this good so far, and seeing what's coming later, I really don't think I can put this in S. But it's an A tier episode for sure. Now we get Leap of Faith, Applejack's Key episode, which is notable for being the only Key episode to not have the entire main six in it. It's just the Apple family. I don't know. There's a part of me that doesn't like that because every other character's Key episode has had the whole gaggle of gals. It feels weird for it to not happen, but as I said during Apple Family Reunion, and I think I did during Pinkie Apple Pie, I just really like the Apple family, and I just really have a soft spot for Apple Family episodes. I am so excited for the episode in Season 5 where the Apple family goes to the rock farm to spend Christmas with Pinkie's family because, hey, we're one big family now. Let's get to know each other better. I am excited to watch that. And I'll also be honest, like, Key episode, I don't think it's that great. Actively kind of hate it. This is the best one so far. I love Leap of Faith. First off, we get the return of Flim and Flam, who, as much as I don't like their debut episode, I made it explicitly clear it's not because of them. They're what saves it for being, like, worse than Ne'er-Do-Well, in my opinion. I used to not love their characterization in this episode, though. Because in their first appearance, they're used car salesmen. They have a genuine product that could make someone's life better. that can work, excuse me, but are also smooth talking, doing some schmoozing, maybe hyping it up for more than it's worth, or at least with their profit splitting, are definitely trying to rip somebody off. But it's still a legitimate product and business. Here, they're snake oil salesmen. They're con men. Now, like, I don't like how they went from having a legitimate legitimate product to being flanderized into being con men. But fuck, they work so well as con men. Like, damn it, it works. And then in every other appearance they have, they're con men. And it works. It works really well. I know there's a key episode, excuse me, not a key episode, a map episode with Fluttershy and Applejack having to solve a friendship problem, which is Flim and Flam are fighting. And from what I remember, Applejack's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to help them because I hate them. I actively despise these two. But I guess I have to do this because fuck me. It's so funny. Sorry, speaking of Applejack, real quick. Something I forgot about in this episode is near the end of the episode when they're talking to Trenderhoof and she's like, look, the moral of that episode is, hey, don't change everything about yourself to make somebody like you. You know, if they don't love you for you, they're not worth it. At least not in that way. Like, they can still be, you know, a friend and someone you can have some kind of relationship with, but, you know, don't change yourself for other people, blah, blah, blah. And Applejack is trying to let him down, and she's like, look, dude, at first it seems like she's trying to say, like, look, I'm just not interested, I'm sorry, and then Rarity interrupts and, you know, kind of says what she says. In hindsight of her ending up with Rainbow Dash, it comes across as she's about to say that she's a lesbian, and Rarity's like, we can't say that on TV. So let me just say something else real quick, and I think that's really funny. Anyways, here. Granny Smith used to be like a great, I believe they call it an aquapony, but she used to be this great swimmer, this high diver, and it was something super dangerous she used to do. And she's like, look, I look back on that as a time in my life that I like absolutely loved and was super hyped for, but it was really dangerous and really stupid. Like, Apple Bloom, if you want to do that, I'm going to actively discourage it because it's not safe. Then they end up hearing some music, so they go to this event, and it's hosted by Flim and Flam, where they have a song, and they're talking about this miracle tonic they have that can, you know, cure any ailments. There's ailments all around us and everything we touch and see. Like, I love this song. I love that whole thing before. Thank you one and all for your attendance, and we guarantee that your time here won't be spent in vain. In fact, we guarantee it'll be the best time you ever spent. Like, I love it. I love that entire sequence. It's perfect. But, like, they have their miracle tonic, which can cure anything. And then there's a part where Granny Smith buys it because she's told that it can make you young again, and, you know, it can fix all your aching and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, sold. I want it all. So Applejack goes later to talk to Flim and Flam. She's like, okay. My grandma bought this shit, and it's working because, you know, it's not making her young, but, like, she's swimming again, and she used to not be able to swim, and she missed it, but, like, I can see how spry she is and how happy she is, and I just want to make sure this is safe. I just want to make sure that my granny is alright, because I want to see her happy, but I don't know. And she sees the dude, his name is Silver Shill, who, when they went previously and during the song, like, he was on crutches, and then he took some of the tonic, and then he was off his crutches, he was able to walk, and he's doing a similar bit, and Applejack's like, oh shit, charlatans. Damn it, I should have known. And granted, maybe you can make the argument, it's like, well, she couldn't suss this out, how did she not, like, it makes sense that she can't suss out Capper. I'm like, I don't know, because even here, the entire time, she's like, I can tell something's off. I don't know exactly what it is, because I think there's a point where Granny's just like, how do you like that? I don't. Like, I don't. There's something fishy here. Like, this is wrong. My honesty sense is a tingling. So she finds out that it's all bullshit, so she goes up to Flim and Flam. She's like, you two are bullshitting. You need to stop. And I love their response is essentially, okay, first off, do you actually have any proof? It's like, hey, like, if you can't prove it, that's slander. Like, that's not okay. That's illegal. And as they're just like, discussing, like, you know, hypothetically, theoretically, what if we were fake? You know, hypothetically, theoretically, maybe our tonic is just apple juice and bay leaves. But the argument they make is, even if, like, let's say, hypothetically, theoretically, we are completely full of shit. Isn't your grandma happy? We may not be selling her a miracle cure-all tonic, but we are selling her happiness and peace of mind. Isn't that worth something? And Applejack has a genuine crisis of conscience. And to me, that's kind of what's missing in Rarity Takes Manhattan. She is not really having this crisis of conscience throughout the episode. It's just kind of a, I guess I'm going to be kind of an asshole, and then afterwards goes, oh, I'm an asshole. Rainbow Dash is having this crisis of conscience of, do I hang out with do I fly with the Wonderbolts, who, and then she finds out they're treating Soren like shit. But it's like, do I fly with the Wonderbolts, or do I fly with Fluttershy and Biceps? There is a crisis there, I just don't think it's as interesting. Pinkie is not really a crisis of conscience, it's just her pride getting injured, you know, hence the title of the episode. And then she gets to a point where she realizes, oh, I'm making someone more miserable, I can't do this. And yeah, Fluttershy isn't really a crisis of conscience, it's just, oh, they're so adorable and helpless, let me help them. And then is told, hey, you shouldn't do that. You're right, I'm not gonna do that anymore. Applejack, for the majority of the episode, is genuinely torn between what she should do. The part of her that is honest, hard-working Applejack says, this is bullshit, and I need to call it out as such. My grandma, it's like her body is still old. I don't want her to do something that could injure her more than she, like, her body is not what it used to be, and I don't want her to do something to make it worse. I also don't like the idea of ponies genuinely buying this tonic, thinking it will help them, thinking it'll cure their sicknesses, that it will help people walk again, it'll help the blind see, when it doesn't do that. That's not okay. On the other hand, she also sees that my granny is happier than she's been in years. And it's because of a placebo, but it's still because of something. I don't want to take that away from her. And maybe if it works for her like that, it works for other ponies too. I don't want to be the bad guy who takes away my granny's happiness, who takes away the happiness of all these other people. So, I won't say anything, but that's wrong. Like, I'm not lying, but I'm not telling the truth either. Like, I'm not lying, but I'm not being honest. But her happiness is more important than my moral code. What the fuck do I do? And I love it. And you just see throughout the episode, there's times where she's like, man, I'm so happy my grandma is happy, but, wow, Flim and Flam are using the fact that I'm not calling them out as an active endorsement. And they're putting my name and using my likeness to, like, hawk this thing out. And if I call them out, it means I'm gonna make, like, Grandma's gonna find out. Not that I lied, that her happiness is fake. What do I do? And eventually she gets to a point where she's like, okay, Granny is going to do something incredibly fucking dangerous. Because she thinks she'll be fine, I have to tell the truth. I don't care that people are going to think of me as a liar, that people are going to think of me as a piece of shit. Her fake happiness, it's not fake happiness, but like happiness based on this falsity is not worth her being injured. And if my reputation is tarnished, then so be it. Because my grandma's safety is more important than my reputation. And as she's giving this speech to everyone about how it's like, look, yeah, I fucking lied, and this is why I did it. And I don't like that I did it. I hope you can understand why I did it. And I will do everything I can to earn your trust back. And as she's giving this speech, and like Silvershill is like, yeah, it's all bullshit. Applejack's right. She's a good person. Flim and Flam are assholes. Flim and Flam just look at each other, don't say anything, and like slowly back away from the crowd. And it's great. I kind of love that they're able to get away with this shit. I love that they don't get reformed. It's fantastic. But yeah, it's like there's a great song in this episode. I feel like the main character of it goes through a genuine trial of their element. And it's an I find it to be a genuinely interesting conundrum. I love what they explore. I love the song. I love our antagonists of this episode. It's an S tier episode, man. Damn, season 4 is just cooking. Because I remember with season 2, I had a lot of S tier episodes, and then when I got to Hurricane Fluttershy, I'm like, okay, maybe some of these aren't as S tier as I thought. So it ended with less S tier episodes, but it kind of had them in spirit. And again, I don't know what we'll do here. Maybe we'll have to cut some. We'll see. Testing 1 2 3 is my favorite episode of season 4. There are some great episodes on the board. There are some still great episodes here on the queue. This is my favorite episode of the season. Aside from Twilight's Kingdom, it was the episode I was most looking forward to rewatching. Twilight's Kingdom because I remembered being very torn on it, and I was looking forward to reevaluating the episode. And we'll get to that, This, because there's a particular scene that I remember loving when I saw it, and it just resonated with me, and I wanted to see if that scene still held up, and no fucking question it did. The basic plot of this episode is Rainbow Dash is going to be taking a test, and if she passes, she becomes part of the Wonderbolt Reserves. And I'll be honest, I don't know exactly what that means, like if it's, if it kind of just means, like, if a Wonderbolt is injured during an event, or, like, is unable to go because of, like, sickness, or conflicts with a day off or something, you might get, like, if it's kind of like the Wonderbolt G League, where you might get called up from the G League, or, like, you're kind of a Wonderbolt understudy, or if it means you are like, you're on deck. Not just, like, you're an understudy, but you're now genuinely in consideration. Like, you're not part of the team yet, but you're now, like, you're essentially a shortlisted Wonderbolt, you know? I'm not exactly sure how it works, but it's a really big deal, and, like, this is a major step in the right direction for what she's wanted her entire life. She has to pass a written test about the Wonderbolts and their history, about General Firefly, and was like Commander Purple Dart, and Colonel, or Commander, shit, I don't remember all the names. There's like a good, Commander Easy Glider, that's one of them. Anyways, point. She has to learn all this stuff, and Rainbow Dash is having a lot of trouble learning the information. Sparks is like, you know what? As seen here, I love learning. I love passing on knowledge. Let me help you with this. Like, oh my goodness, I get to put together a lesson plan. I get to lecture. I can make flashcards. Like, yeah, Twilight is like a fucking perfect teacher. No wonder she opens a ding-dang school later. Maybe this is kind of where she got the idea. I don't know. And she's trying to teach Rainbow Dash these different methods. Like, you know, you can just like listen to a lecture. You can make cards. You can highlight. Only highlight the things that are important. Let's see what you highlighted so far. You highlighted the whole page. Okay, this doesn't work. And Rainbow Dash not clicking with anything Twilight is trying to do. She is just not paying attention. At one point, she's kind of moving around in her stool and it starts squeaking. So she keeps doing it and jamming to the squeaking noise. And Aloysius comes down and is jamming to it. And Spike, as Clay put it, just chose chaos and starts like playing on a drum to the beat. And Twilight's like, you were not fucking listening, you dumb piece of shit. Come on. And then later, Rainbow Dash just like shooting spitballs at Twilight. And Twilight's like, okay, I genuinely want to help you, but you're actively starting to make me mad. Maybe I should take the test and become a Wonderbolt then, because I actually know this shit and am taking it seriously. Then Fluttershy shows up and is like, girls, stop fighting. Stop being mad at each other. Maybe your way of teaching Rainbow doesn't work. Let me try mine. So she puts on a play with all of the group pets being different Wonderbolts and like Celestia and Luna and whatnot. And because it's performed by animals, there's no, I mean, I say that when they're all ponies. It's non-pony animal and shit. Like, there's no dialogue. And Rainbow Dash is very confused and has no idea what's going on. I think she's asking someone, I don't remember if it's Twilight or Pinkie, because everyone is in this episode. She's like, hey, what's going on right now? Oh, you know, it's this, and this. And she's like, how are you getting all of that from this? And I'm just thinking to myself, that's how I felt reading Homestuck. Because there were parts where it'd just be like an Andrew Hussey page where he's like, okay, this is like the story so far. I'm like, wait, that's what's been happening? Huh? But anyways, that doesn't work. So then Rarity shows up like wearing a military uniform. It's like, Rainbow Dash, I am going to help you by putting on a fashion show. And I don't remember exactly what Rainbow Dash says. It's something along the lines of, you look ridiculous, or like, oh, why would you think that would work? I think she just says, you look ridiculous, to which Rarity responds with, like, for the sake of our friendship, and be like, it's like, because I genuinely want to help you with this, I am choosing to ignore that comment, and that got a great laugh out of me. So what Rarity does is she puts on a fashion show. It's like, all right, look at this outfit. This outfit belonged to this person, and this is what they did. This one belonged to this person. This is what they did, etc., 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 etc. Actually, did Pinkie already do her part, or is Pinkie's later? I don't know. I'm going to put a quick pin in Pinkie. Pin the tail on the Pinkie Pie, I guess. So the fashion show happens, and that doesn't work, and then Applejack's like, well, yeah, I could have told you that this is a fucking stupid idea, and Rarity gives Applejack this look of like, I will murder you in your sleep. And Rainbow's like, okay, so you have a way you can teach me all this, Applejack? No. Like, I'm sorry, I just don't. Might be. Take the pin out. So Pinkie starts rapping. Like, it transitions to this old, like, scratchy 90s song where she starts rapping about the history of the Wonderbolts. And I love it, and I think it's great, and I think it's perfect. And I remember there was this one artist, I believe they went by Delta Brony, who did a lot of mashups, frequently of Friendship is Magic songs and video game music. I think there's one. I think there's. I know. blah, blah, blah. There's a lot. I'm just like, a lot popped into my head. But I know there's a mashup of Pinkie's Wonderbolt rap and Pumpkin Hill from Sonic Adventure 2. And I've listened to it a lot. To the point where when it got to Pinkie's rap, I'm just thinking to myself, oh yeah, the original version doesn't have the Pumpkin Hill piano. And hearing her rap without the Pumpkin Hill piano in the back was actually a weird experience. So shout out to that, man. But, all of this happens. All of her friends are trying to teach Rainbow Dash, this is the history, this is how you can learn it, this is how you should learn it, and none of it sticks. And Rainbow Dash gives up. You're like, look, this doesn't work for me. I am trying. I'm genuinely trying, and nothing is clicking. I'm gonna fail the test. You know, I thought all I really needed was to be the best flyer, was just be really fast, really agile, have all these tricks. But I can't overcome how stupid I am. And I hate that. That I am my final obstacle and I can't beat it. But thanks for trying. And Twilight goes up and finds her and is trying to cheer her up. Trying to encourage her to have like one last study session. And as they're talking, the way I can best explain the conversation is Twilight is saying, Rainbow Dash, this is everything I love about you. This is why you are one of my favorite people. This is why your existence makes me happy. This is why I love you. Not romantically. And Rainbow Dash saying, it doesn't matter. Every cool thing about me in your eyes is something that either I see as a failure or holds no real value. Especially in hindsight of like, it's not gonna matter because I'm gonna fail the test. It doesn't matter that I'm fast. It doesn't matter that I have all these tricks. I'm still going to fail. My speed and my tricks aren't gonna help me when I'm, I don't know, flipping burgers or some shit. And as this is happening, Rainbow Dash is able to tell Twilight about like all the shit that's going on the ground. And Twilight's like, oh, that's how we'll teach her. That is how Rainbow Dash learns. She is incredibly observant of things. So like, if we are just trying to give her, this is the information, she's not going to absorb it. But if it's stuff we kind of just have in the background while she's doing a flight and observing everything on the ground, we got this. And it works, and Rainbow Dash passes the test, and, you know, it's great. And it's an episode about how people learn in different ways. We absorb information in different ways. Just because you are having trouble grasping information or you're not learning in a specific style, it does not make you stupid. Which I think is probably one of, if not the most genuinely, like, well-intentioned morals in the series. And I don't mean that to be like, it's well-intentioned, but I'm like, no, it's just really well-intentioned. It's just really sweet and uplifting, and I love that. That conversation between Twilight and Rainbow Dash is one of my favorite scenes in the whole show. Because I've had that conversation. I have been on both sides of that conversation. I actually had it just a couple nights ago. Where you want someone to know how much they are loved. And the things like, this is why you are special. It's because of this. It's because of this. It's because of this. And them saying, I don't believe you. Because I don't see it in myself, or because it just doesn't matter. And again, I've been on both sides of it. And on both sides, it's heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking to feel that way about yourself. And it is just as heartbreaking to see someone you care about feel that way. I love it. Like I said, like I don't love the feeling, but like I love that scene. Because while there's some scenes in there are some scenes in some episodes of Friendship is Magic that are maybe more entertaining, that are more uplifting, that are funnier. It is one of the most real scenes for me in the entire series. And it is special to me because of that. Also, it's nice to have a Rainbow Dash episode be one of my, like, favorite in a season. Because, A, up to this point, she is my favorite character in the show. And starting in Season 5, when we get Glim Glam, it's like, Glim Glam does become my favorite character. Maybe by the time I finish, I'm like, no, it is still Rainbow Dash, we'll see. But it's kind of nice that, like, before she gets upstaged, she does get a best episode in there. And especially after she's had a pair of episodes earlier this season that I don't think are that good, I'm glad her last big episode of the season she gets to go out on top. Now we get Tradia. Tradia's just really funny. It is, the main six and Spike go to a swap meet, and we get an A plot, a B plot, a C plot, and even a little bit of a D plot. So, the A plot is Rainbow Dash is trying to get the first edition copy of Daring Do and the Search for the Sapphire Stone, even though it's a statue and blah blah blah. And she's trying to get a first edition copy of the book, but to get that, she has to get this thing, but to get that, she has to trade for this thing, and then this thing, and then this thing, and then this thing, and it is just her trying to do a video game fetch quest side quest. Like, she's trying to get the big Goron sword, and Fluttershy is just there for moral support, and I think it's really entertaining. You have the B plot, which is Twilight and Pinkie Pie, with Twilight as the, like, hey, a princess is always supposed to oversee the swap meet, so I guess that's my princessy duty now. Also, I want to sell some of my old books. Or, like, I want to trade them, because, I don't know, it's like they're taking up a lot of space in the library, and I'm just kind of ready to say goodbye, and, you know, again, I want to pass on my knowledge to the next generation, and, like, I want to pass on my books, and they made me happy, but I don't need them anymore, but maybe they can make someone else happy too. And Pinkie essentially being, like, an auctioneer and trying to, like, drum up interest so Twilight can get something good out of it for every book she trades, and there are people who are like, but, like, this belonged to the princess? Yo, I want it, and then Twilight's like, but now they want it for the wrong reasons instead of just, I want a good book, and, Our C plot is Rarity and Applejack. They're like, tell you what, let's pool together all of our shit that we're going to try to sell and exchange, and we'll work together to try to get cool stuff. And both of them are like, hey, I found something I really want, and it's going to cost everything. Applejack wants a pie tin that's super old that I think will make it, like, pies bake faster by 5 seconds. And Rarity wants a one-of-a-kind brooch that she already has an exact copy of. And Rarity's saying, well, I'm the element of generosity, so, fine, take my shit and get your shitty pie tin. And Applejack's saying, well, I'm a better friend, so you do it. I'm a better friend. I'm a better friend. And that's their plotline. And the D plot, which you only see, like, right at the beginning and right at the end, is Spike saying, look, I've got this, like, mint condition Power Ponies comic, and I want to get another comic, and I'm going to see if I can swap with somebody. So, Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy is the majority of the episode. Like I said, it's them doing this side quest, and the last thing she needs to get is an Orthrus, like the Cerberus is the 3-headed dog from Greek mythology, the Orthrus is the twin-headed dog. 2! That's how many heads it has. And she brings the Orthrus to the person, and the person's like, you know, it kind of changed my mind. I don't want it. That thing looks fucking dangerous. And then Fluttershy calms it down, and she's like, you know what? I will accept it, but only if Fluttershy comes with me. Like, she comes to live with me to trade it. And Rainbow Dash just says, deal! And then as soon as she does and she's holding the book, she's like, wait a second, I just traded Fluttershy. Oh my god, I just traded Fluttershy. And she has to get it back, and she has to call in the neutral arbitrator, who's Twilight, who's like, hey, this trade wasn't fair, and Twilight's like, I don't know, I mean, it's really shitty that you did that, you're the piece of shit awful friend in our group, elements of loyalty, my ass, but you both agreed to the terms. Our hands are kinda tied here. And then, Rainbow Dash gives this impassioned speech, and the other person's like, okay, fine, the deal's off, take your friend back. And then Rainbow Dash is able to, like, quickly get something nice for Fluttershy. And, like, I don't know, it's just really funny. It's a good time. Twilight and Pinkie's story ends with Twilight realizing, if these people want my stuff, not because of the inherent value of the books, but because they were mine, they're kind of unworthy of my stuff. And you know what? With all of the important memories that I have of reading these books, like, this is the book I was reading when this happened, and we're like, this is the book I was reading when Spike decided he owed Applejack a life debt. Like, I got a good laugh out of that line. But, she's like, no, like, these have important sentimental value to me, so I don't think I could actually get something even in a trade, because I'm not just losing a book, I'm losing a memory. And boy, her talking about how it's like, no, like, I want to keep these books because of the memories and their sentimental value. Boy, does that hit hard in a few episodes. Just how those books do in Twilight. That's fun. That's pretty fucked. Applejack and Rarity's storyline ends with, at one point, Rarity going up to Applejack, like, look, I sold my half of the shit for a Python. It's not the one that you really wanted, but I did what I could to get you something. And Applejack's like, I did the same thing. This isn't the one-of-a-kind brooch that you wanted, but I got you this because I know you have something just like it. So I know it would make you happy. And then, like, they hug, and, Spike is able to trade a comic for another comic, and he's happy. And, like, that's the episode. It's just fun. I don't think it's quite as fun as Castlemania, me personally. So I think I'd put it in A rather than S. Like, it's not as funny as Simple Ways. I love it covered in mud. That scene is so funny. That line delivery is so pitch perfect. Oh, it's great. It's beautiful. So we're getting to our last 3 episodes, because, 2-parter. I'm counting it as one. Inspiration, manifestation. I need water, because I'm going to say a lot about this episode. And what's weird is I don't know how much I'm actually going to be talking about the episode, but about just, like, what the episode makes me think of. Okay. So the basic plot of the episode, Rarity is working on a commission to make a wagon, or, like, not like really a wagon, but like a puppet stand for this guy who's a puppeteer, and it's like, this is kind of how I want it to look. I want it to have wheels so I can move it around, so, my puppet show can be a little bit on the move, blah, blah, blah. And Rarity designs it the way she wants it designed. Very gaudy, very pretty. There's wheels, but they're kind of more for, like, aesthetic purposes rather than for function. The window for the actual puppets is way too small, so you can't really use it adequately. And her client is very upset with it and calls her out on it, which leads to Rarity being very sad, crying on the couch and eating ice cream. And she's like, yeah, nom 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 nom, nom 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 nom, which is really funny. Like, I'm sorry, that just the fucking sound she makes when eating ice cream is making me laugh really hard. Like, man, between this and Simple Ways, like, even just, like, some of the voice acting in this, too, like, which I've mentioned, like, dude, Tabitha St. Germain in this season was fucking gold. It's Rarity, like, Rarity was in her bag. I just wish her key episode was good. Anyways, point. Spike sees that Rarity is very sad, and he's like, man, this is some bullshit. I'm gonna do something to make her happy. So he goes into the castle of the two sisters. I don't remember what he's looking for. It's like some, I don't know if he's looking for a specific kind of spell or kind of book, or if he just, like, wants to vent or some shit. But he goes, and he ends up finding what I can only refer to as, like, the Necronomicon, or the Tome of Eternal Darkness. Because I remember my buddy Wyatt around this time was playing Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem. Like, when the episode first came out, not, like, a week ago. And I remember he had this, like, recurring thing whenever he was playing the game, and the game would ask, like, for a character when they find the tome, it's, should whoever take the Tome of Eternal Darkness? No, he shouldn't, but he's gonna. And when I got to that scene in the episode, like, I remember taking a picture of Spike standing before the book, and I just texted, like, that to Wyatt. I was like, should Spike take the Tome of Eternal Darkness? To which he responds to me, no, we shouldn't, but he's gonna. And it was great. I loved that. But so Spike takes the book, and the shit literally starts, like, crumbling behind him, and the door closes to trap him inside, but he doesn't notice, and he's able to walk out before it happens, and Aloysius is there like, dude, why did you, like, I don't, like, dude, that book is obviously fucked if this is happening. You gotta put that shit back. And Spike's like, dude, it'll be fine. So he gives the book to Rarity, and she reads the spell called Inspiration Manifestation. You know, insert Leo pointing meme. But she finds the spell, and what the spell does is essentially snap my fingers, whatever I'm imagining comes to life. Like, I don't have to spend the time actually creating what I want to make. I can just make it instantly. What's in my head is now in reality. And she slowly but surely is getting more possessed by the book and by the spell. And there's a point where she's like, look, Spike, the three of us are so happy. The three of us? Yes, you, me, and the book. And as you can see, it's like her eyes start glowing green. Her horn and her magic, instead of being blue like her eyes, which is generally how unicorn magic looks, it's green. Spike at one point tries to take the book, and Rarity just, like, is glaring at him like, don't fucking touch my book, Spike. She just goes around town and is quote-unquote improving things, and at one point Twilight's like, I think someone has, like, an evil eldritch tome and is messing with shit, and I gotta stop them, and they don't actually have a conflict or, like, a fight in the episode. That would have been, I would have loved that shit. It just doesn't happen. But, sorry, brain stopped for a second. Spike, Aloysius throughout the episode is essentially telling Spike, dude, you need to stop this, because, like, Rarity is like, Spike, everything's good, right? You like what I made? And Spike's like, oh boy, I don't want to say no to her. Partly because she's my good friend, and I don't want to make her feel bad. Partly because I have a crush on her, and I don't want to lose any points. And also because I'm now kind of scared of what she might do to me if I say no. But eventually gets to a point where he tells her the truth, and that's what breaks the spell. And even when Rarity reads the spell, it's like, yeah, like, the truth will set you free is, like, basically part of the spell, so it's not bullshit. And the episode ends with a very, like, tired Twilight coming into the house and just being like, Spike, next time you see an obvious eldritch tome, don't take it. I have been so busy cleaning up after all this shit. I am exhausted, and I don't want to look at anything right now. And Spike's like, dude, you look like shit. Which pisses Twilight off, and he's like, hey, I learned I always gotta be honest with my friends, man. Like, you can't fault me for talking about my friendship lesson, and then Twilight's like, I want you dead. Like, she's so mad. It's great. I think the episode, on its own merits, is generally speaking a lot of fun. I think it's like the shit Rarity makes is fun. Her getting like super into the creative. Let's get creative. But green's not a creative color, Rarity. I think it's fun. I think it's a really good Spike episode. Because it's Spike and Rarity, but it mostly focuses on Spike. And it's an episode that doesn't make him a jackass. It doesn't make him greedy. It is just, I don't want to make my friend upset, but gets to a point where he realizes the moral of the episode is when your friend is doing something they shouldn't and is being destructive, whether it is outward or being self-destructive, you need to be honest with them and let them know what's going on. And if they are a good friend, they will accept that and they will understand. And that's, that is an important lesson. And I've had situations like that where, like, I feel like there's been times where I've been called out on my bullshit, and it's good and it's important. And there have been times when I have called other people out on their bullshit and things that they needed to hear. And, sometimes that doesn't go well, but in time, it does. And I think that's really good. I really like that. But like I said, I have a lot of things to say about this episode, and a good chunk of it is not really going to be about the episode itself. It's just what it makes me think about, and how it makes me feel. So we're going to get into that. Thing number one. The guy with the puppet show might be kind of an ass, but he's not wrong. He commissioned Rarity to... Oh shit, I feel like something in my throat. I gotta drink some water. Oh. Maybe it is a demon. Maybe the demon's just in my neck. Maybe the demons are the friends we made along the way. I am playing Persona, so that's pretty accurate, actually. Maybe a little more so if I was technically playing SMT, but regardless. The guy might be an ass, but he's not wrong to criticize Rarity. I talked about this during Suited for Success, about how the theme of don't look a gift horse in the mouth is not a bad moral. But it doesn't really apply to commission work, because that's not necessarily a gift. That is, I am requesting you make something specific for me. And granted, in that episode, it's kind of unclear because it seems like Rarity is doing this for free, but then there's a line in the song where they're talking about their budgets, and maybe they are trying to kind of pay her for, give her some kind of compensation. This is clear, though. This is pure commission. He paid her for this, and it was not to his liking, not to his specifications. He is not looking a gift horse in the mouth. He is saying, you did not do the job I paid you for. And I needed this for something. And now I'm kind of fucked. And Rarity not being able to take that criticism. Maybe I am just going to be talking about the episode itself. But it's kind of interesting. Here in Rarity's this bad future Sweetie sees, Rarity is unable to take criticism, and it kind of breaks her, but she, every time, because she failed with Sapphire Shore, she now, double checks and triple checks and quadruple checks everything to the point where she can never get anything done, and it fucks with her and creates this mental block, etc., etc., etc. Which, I don't know how much of that is a genuine thing, or if Luna's just no, I'm just gonna fuck with you to make you feel guilty. That's another thing I forgot to bring up about that episode, is how Luna's Sweetie Belle, I can relate to you about being jealous of my big sister. And it's one of the things I really, really love about... Yeah, this is easily an A-tier episode. I don't know why I was maybe it's here. No, this episode is great. I still don't think I would put it up here. But I think it's fantastic. The more I think about it, the more I talk about it. Maybe I could put it in... I don't think so. This one is going to go in S. Sorry, I probably should have gone ahead and placed it. I do think that Dude is completely right to call her out. And Rarity, instead of just being like, I was criticized, should probably have been like, ugh, you know, I did fuck up. Let's see if I can fix this. Like, it is very unprofessional how she handled that. Also, again, like in Suited for Success, the other moral is if you try to please everyone, you will end up pleasing no one. Which, again, in terms of commission work, doesn't really apply because you're not trying to please everyone. You're trying to please the person who said, I like what you make, and I want you to make something for me. That is the person you're trying to please. That doesn't mean you have to bend over backwards to give them everything. Because as the creator, as the artist, there are still your own limits. There are still your own boundaries. And there's also just things that you're like, that's not something I don't think I can make. But what about this? And being able to compromise and kind of figure shit out. And that's completely fine. Here it was, dude said, this is what I need. And Rarity said, bet. I'm going to make it the way I want to make it instead of the way you need it. And again, I think it makes her come out in the wrong here. I just, yeah. Sorry, I was just like checking my phone because I got like a notification and it wasn't really anything. I just needed to check real quick. But I feel like it was kind of something I was thinking about watching the episode, and afterwards I was like, yeah, Rarity is completely in the wrong in that situation, and I don't know if she learned the right moral from Suited for Success. But anyways, there's that. But then there's the other thing I want to talk about with this episode. Like, what it really gets me thinking. Like, how it gets me thunking. When I first watched this episode, I thought to myself, man, I would love that spell. I have so many ideas, so much shit that I want to write. I want to write this book. I want to write this book. Like, I want to write this series, which is this many books. And then this one is this many books. And then it has a sequel idea, which is this many books. And I have to do all that before I can move on to the next project, which I really want to do because X, Y, and Z reasons. And then there's this and there's this. I was like, dude, if I could just snap my fingers and make them, oh man, I'd have so much shit done. It would be wonderful. I could be happy. And now I'm at a point in my life where I'm like, I would never take that spell. Never in a million years. I have seen one of my favorite things about being a writer is seeing how my story evolves as I am writing it. As I am putting pen to paper or, I don't know, finger to keyboard and actually writing it and seeing how it's like, this is how the character was in my head, but that's not who they really are. These are some of the differences. Or how I have the original idea and like I'm playing around with the idea in my head and I start to find the holes. And then I'm like, okay, that's a problem. How do I fix this? And then I fix the problem like, wait a second. But if I fix it like this, it changes all this other shit, and seeing the ramifications. But then seeing those ramifications play out, I'm like, wait a second, this is way better than what I had before. Or like, the book that I had finished last year, that I wrote a little bit of on the cruise, and I was so happy to finally do it, because I love Orichalcum. There was a point when writing it, like, actually, like, not just, like, in my head, I think I was, like, actually writing scenes, and I realized, this character is a vampire. Like, I can just tell with, like, the way I am writing them, and, like, some of the little shit that I'm trying to put in here, she's a vampire. That's cool. How do vampires work in this setting? Like, why do they exist? How do they exist? What are the rules of vampirism in this setting? And it's something I had to think about, and I, like, thought about it, and I played around with different ideas and different, like, backstories and shit. it ended up changing the entire complexity of the narrative. Because there was a character who, like, the main antagonist of the story did not exist in the original idea. It wasn't until I started messing with the backstory and, like, trying to be like, why do vampires exist? I had to go, like, really deep into the lore, figured out why, and as I played around with it, I was like, oh, this character still exists. They're the antagonist. And because of the shit that happened in the lore, the character who was supposed to be the main antagonist, I was like, their plan literally doesn't make sense anymore because no one would do that based on the lore I just created. So now I have to change this, and like, man, this character that was the main antagonist of the story doesn't really exist in this version of the story anymore. But I think it's better because of X, Y, and Z reasons. So if I had this spell, this story that I've, like, made so many changes to and have fallen in love with and, like, deeper in love with as I keep changing it and figuring more shit out, wouldn't be the same. There's a Five Nights at Freddy's fan game called The Joy of Creation. And I haven't played it. I'm not super interested in actually playing it, but it looks neat. You know, like the whole, like, free roaming and the animatronics and shit. Like, I think that's really neat. But I just love that title. The Joy of Creation. And that's what this inspiration manifestation spell takes away. It takes away the joy of having to make something, having to create something, having to make those concessions with yourself as the creator, as the writer, as the artist, as the architect, etc., etc., etc. And to me, that's why AI is not art. If you were using, and not to say, like, if you're using, like, a little bit of AI to maybe supplement something, like, I don't know, like, there's maybe some gray areas, I won't deny that. But if your art, quote unquote, is I use a machine and I write in a prompt and then it makes me a picture, you're not an artist. If your thing is I'm going to write in, like, a prompt and it's going to churn out a novel, you're not a writer. You're not an artist because you didn't, like, draw it or paint it. You're not a writer because you didn't actually write anything. Coming up with an idea does not make you an artist. It's part of being an artist because to me, like, what is the fucking core concept of being a creator? It's creativity and creating something with that creativity. If you're making up the prompt, the creativity is there, but you're not creating the product. You're not seeing what's in your head coming to life by, like, you know, your own hard work or your own talent that you're cultivating. You're not making yourself better at what you're doing. You're not making your project better. You're not making anything. And that's why it's not art. It's, I don't know what it is. It's something, like, it exists. But to me, art is specifically something you create for the purpose of being creative. Like, if I make a spoon and I'm not putting any, like, artistic merit into it, I'm just, like, trying to make a spoon so I have a utensil to eat, I don't think that's art. But if I am making the spoon, like, because I need something to eat, but I also put some artistic flourishes in there, like I, like, etch in, like, I don't know, like a smiley face on it, or like I put like a cool, like, decal on the like the handle or something, there is art in that. There's art in there, and I think that's cool as fuck. But I still have to create it. I mean, to be fair, like, I'm just bullshitting. Like, I'm not a metal worker or anything like that. But to me, the creative intent is just as important as the actual process of creating. AI has no process for the creator, and it's not art. And this spell is exactly what that is. It is robbing you of the joy of creation, and instead it's giving you the instant gratification. And it's just something I find really interesting about this episode. And yeah, it's an episode that's essentially saying, way before this was a thing, AI is bad. Like, AI is not art, because you're not... To be fair, it's less that they're saying Rarity isn't actually creating anything, but even then they're like, yeah, all the shit she's making is, like, bad, and it's gaudy, and it doesn't work. And I find that interesting in today's climate, but that's, I don't know, that's my 2 cents on AI. It's an episode that was making me thinking about it, and I really appreciated that. Let's talk about Equestria Games. Oh, boy. I am going to be dead ass. You know, like, can I be real a second? For just a millisecond. But down the... Holy shit. Sorry. I mean, speaking of art, speaking of creativeness, like, I just got an email from the artist who's like, is doing like our character art for the VM. Like, I emailed him this, or her, or they, I don't know the gender, but like, I emailed them this morning about, because we just got the art for the main character, and he looks fantastic, and I absolutely love it, and I was like, thank you, it's perfect. I think we can probably go ahead and move on to the next character, who is the main antagonist. It's my favorite character in the story, and I was like, yeah, this is, you know, what they look like. Here's kind of a lot of the ideas and whatnot, and already they've just, like, sent me a thing. Like, yeah, this is, what the... Oh, shit, that looks so... Fuck, that looks so cool! Oh, she looks amazing! Oh, she looks great! Holy crap! Oh, dude, I'm sorry, like, her... Fuck, her uniform looks so badass. She got this really cool cape and... I can't wait to show Clay. Fuck, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm now just, like, gushing. I'm in a really happy place seeing her look like that. She looks so fucking good. There might be some things about it I'm like, alright, well, let's see this. Let's play around with this. But, oh, man, that is sick. Art is badass. Art is so good. Anyways, let's talk about Equestria Games. I remember when this episode came out, I fucking hated it. I absolutely despised it. I thought it was the worst episode of the season. In a season that at the time I felt very mixed on. I was like, why is Discord the genie? What is this shit? Pinkie is written terribly. What the fuck are these two? Clearly I've come around on a lot of the season. Not all the season, but a lot of the season. I was expecting the episode to be here. I was expecting it to be one of, if not the absolute worst episodes of the show. There's a part of me who, after rewatching it, can still maybe make that, not that strong of a case, but it's like, I still have my issues with it. So what the episode is, what it's actually about... Sorry, I'm just thinking about how good my character looks. Like, fuck, I think the cape and the hat looks so cool. I think she looks phenomenal. Anyways, let me finish this water bottle. I will go ahead and warn you. If my voice ends up sounding a little weird, like I got something in my mouth, or you hear something chewing, that is because I will be chewing on the plastic of this here water bottle. Because I have a problem. I don't know why I love chewing on plastic, but I love chewing on plastic. Anyways, the plot of this... I really shouldn't be chewing on plastic when I'm talking for a video. I'm sorry. I'm gonna do it later, but it feels weird to do it right now. the plot of this episode is the fucking Olympics are happening. Something that was built up in season 3 in a pair of episodes, that was built up here, that was built up here. And instead of an episode that's just about the Olympics and exploring the Olympics and like seeing all these different games and events, and we see some of them, it's kind of window dressing. It's not even kind of, it is window dressing. The episode is about Spike. It is about Spike going to the Crystal Empire and there being a fucking statue of him, and all of the crystal ponies, I don't remember exactly what they call them, but it's something like, oh, Spike, the brave and glorious, wonderful, brave dragon kind of thing. Essentially, they're like, you are the savior of the Crystal Empire because you are the one that got the Crystal Heart to Cadence. You, like, without you, we would have all died, and, like, we'd still be under Sombra's thumb and whatnot. Thank you. And so, I don't think I quite said this in a previous video, but I kind of was alluding to it. My headcanon, to kind of cut Cadence some slack for not inviting Spike in games ponies play / I keep wanting to call it Spike at your service, because that's a Spike episode that season. He's offering a service. It's just for sidekicks. My headcanon is, I don't want to invite Spike until his statue is ready. Because I want him to come and see this shit and how cool it is and just how much he is loved in my kingdom. And I think that's neat. She doesn't say that. It's my headcanon. But I'm like, Cadence, I'm going to give you a pass. Because I think that's really cool if that's true. So Spike realizes that he's the bee's knees out here. And Cadence suggests he light the torch for the Olympics. And he's like, dude, that sounds dope. I'm a dragon. I can do it with my own fire. And like, given how much the crowd seems to like how loved I am here, like, dude, it's really gonna hype up the local crowd. Like, this is so cool. And he is so excited to do it. And what I love, because what I remembered was Spike was just super egotistical in this episode. Like, he was drinking his own Kool-Aid, buying in his own hype, and I mean, that's not only not true, it is the exact opposite of what happens in this episode. And I just find that really interesting, how completely wrong I was. Anyways, he goes to light the torch, and he can't. Like, his fire isn't working because he has severe stage fright. Like, it is... Oh, there are thousands of people who are all watching me and depending on me to do this, and I just can't do it, and he freezes. And he's trying to light the fire, and it's not working, and Harshwini's like, come on, Mr. the Dragon, and she keeps calling him Mr. the Dragon throughout the episode, and I think it's great. And everyone in the audience is like is this a bit? What the fuck is going on? Like, is he okay? And Twilight eventually is like, okay, there's a problem here. I need this situation... Less of, I need the situation fixed because we're on a schedule, and just more of, okay, I need to get Spike out of this. So she uses a spell to light the fire, and, like, we have linked the flame. And the torch gets lit, and everyone's happy, and Spike's like, huh, that's weird. So the main six are having a conversation after. They're like, what the fuck happened with Spike? And Sparks is like, dude, I don't know. I lit the fire. Like, Spike was not able to get it going. I need to kind of talk to him. And they're like, have you told Spike that you lit the fire for him? No. I mean, he's a smart enough dude. He could probably figure it out. And I know I should tell him. I think it's Applejack specifically who's like, you need to tell him. And he's like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to hurt his feelings, but I probably should be honest. I don't know. And then a couple crystal ponies are like, oh, Spike the brave and glorious and blah, 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 blah. Can you sign our autograph? Hell yeah. In fact, let me do something better. I'm going to set your autograph on fire with my mind. Because apparently I can do that now because I lit that Olympic flame with my mind. And Twilight's like, I can't fucking do this. So she takes Spike aside and tells him, look, I lit the fire. I don't know what's wrong. I sincerely hope you're okay. But, like, the problem was taken care of. Everything is Gucci. But it's important to me that you know the truth and, like, you don't think you have powers that you don't try to make an ass of yourself. But, like, you good? Oh. Yeah, I'm good. I'm fine. I'm fine. Huh. You know, this is something that, you know, they really wanted me to do. You know, like, I'm loved here in the Crystal Empire, and, like, they wanted me to, like, I wanted to kind of repay that, and it turns out I wasn't actually able to do it. I don't know, like, I know no one thinks I let them down because the thing still got lit, but I know I did let them down. I need to make it up. I need to do something. So he's talking to Harshwini, and he's trying to say, I didn't do enough, and she's like, you lit the torch to start the Olympics, dog. That's enough. How is that not enough? Celebrities. Next thing, you're about to throw a rock concert. Like, she's great. And Spike's like, concert, singing, of course. I should sing, like, the national anthem. And I'm not sure if he thought he was singing the Equestria national anthem or, like, the Crystal Empire national anthem. Maybe it said, I just didn't quite catch it. But anyways, this is after the relay event, which is the one that the Wonderbolts are in and that Rainbow Dash is in, and the Wonderbolts win. I like that Rainbow Dash doesn't win. Because at the end of this episode, right here, where she says, you know, winning isn't everything. The thing that's most important is, like, having a good time and being with your friends. And in the first scene of the episode, they're on a train going to the Crystal Empire, and she's like, all right, every pony from Ponyville, just remember, winning isn't everything. Go have fun. But seriously, like, make sure you fucking win. It's like, it's okay if you don't, but if you don't give it your all, I will strangle you. And I don't know, I think it's pretty funny. So Spitfire and them win. They, like, just barely beat even though they have 3 dead-ass Wonderbolts, and Rainbow Dash is being held back by Bulk, Biceps, and Fluttershy. She loses by, like, a nanosecond. And Spitfire just gives her that look of, like, dude, respect. You are so fucking cool. And I really like that. I think that's neat. But during the presentation of the medals, you know, they're going to play the national anthem. And Spike's like, I'll sing it. Yeah. The crowd's, like, super hyped. And Shining Armor's like, it's the Cloudsdale national anthem because Cloudsdale got the golds by, like, I don't know the Cloudsdale national anthem. Which leads to one of the, if not the most uncomfortable, cringe, and unpleasant scenes in the entire show. Of Spike not singing the national anthem, but just the, hey, I thought I was gonna sing a different one, and I don't know this one, and I'm so sorry for ruining your moment and making an ass of myself, but hopefully the song is over now, and no, it's not, it just keeps on going, and hopefully the song is over now, and boy, it's awful. But right after he's done, a baby in the crowd starts crying, and that's pretty funny, and you just hear Pinkie screaming, nailed it! And, again, not mocking because it's Pinkie, and I'm like, I don't know if that's really funny or if that's really awful. It's kinda both. So Spike is now just, like, really depressed, and it cuts to a few days later, like, yeah, Spike, has anyone seen Spike? No, he hasn't left his room since the fucking national anthem debacle. Twilight's like, alright, I gotta go get him. This dude needs to see the sun. So she goes and is trying to cheer up Spike and make him feel better, and they have this conversation about how Spike is disappointed in himself, and Twilight is trying to tell him, you really don't need to be. I think Twilight is very well intentioned, but I hate the execution of the scene. What she tells him is, hey, you don't need to feel bad because the end results are fine. There was no harm, no foul. It doesn't matter that you were unable to light the torch because the torch still got lit. It doesn't matter that you botched the national anthem because all the ponies still got their medals and the Cloudsdale ponies still got their gold. No one was hurt. It's fine. I've referenced in other videos, especially in Season 2's, that Hurricane Fluttershy is one of my favorite episodes of the whole show. I just really, really love that episode. And whenever I talk about, like, alright, an episode that makes me kind of cut down my S tiers, I'm like, this might be the Hurricane Fluttershy, because to me the episode is that good. The scene for me that sells that episode is after Fluttershy has her 80s montage of training, and she, like, shows up all confident, and she does the thing, like, she runs the lap, and you see she has a phenomenal improvement in her wing power, but it's still far below everyone else. And Rainbow Dash and Twilight are both very encouraging, like, dude, you put in, like, clearly you put in a lot of work. You have made a substantial improvement. We are so excited that you're going to fly tomorrow, that you're going to be part of the group. And she's like, no, I can't. What do you mean you can't? Like, I need you. Like, I need everyone I can to break that record. But, like, Rainbow Dash, but here's the thing. I am going to be the only one who is flying at this level. What you guys see as me making a genuine improvement, I will see is that I am half as good as everyone else here. And I can't do that. Like, how would you feel if everyone was at level 10 and you were the only person at level 4 and everyone was telling you, but it's okay because you're doing your best? And from what I remember, Rainbow Dash doesn't respond to that. Like, she kind of has that look on her face of, like, I want to argue with you because I want you here to break the record and everything, but you're right. I get it. Like, fuck, that sounds awful. And I'm sorry you feel that way. And then, like, I'm sorry you feel that way. It's like, I'm sorry that this is how you feel. That there's, like, nothing I can do to fix that and make you happy. And I love that. I love that Rainbow Dash looks at the situation and says, you're, like, I put stock in how you feel about the situation. And Twilight doesn't do that here with Spike. She's not like, and she's like, yeah, the thing still got lit. Yeah, but, like, I was supposed to do it and I froze and I wasn't able to, and that makes me feel like shit. Dude, why? Like, who gives a shit? It still got lit. That's what matters. Like, and again, she's not doing, like, your feelings don't matter. She's trying to cheer him up. Like, dude, it's fine. It still got lit. But I don't like that. I don't like that she's trying to dismiss how he feels. It bothers me. And then when she talks about the anthem debacle, about how, dude, it's fine. They still got their medals. No one got hurt. I'm like, I don't know, Twilight. He ruined their moment. Like, there was an intense event, a hard-fought race between two people who seem like they're genuine kind of friends and kind of rivals. Like, the weird relationship that Rainbow Dash and Spitfire have that I think is pretty dope. And instead of, like, this moment in the Olympics will no longer be remembered for that. It won't be remembered as this event that went down to the fucking wire. It won't be a moment that people in the future look at as, dude, oh, the Wonderbolt captain went up against, like, the fastest Wonderbolt ever and managed to win by the skin of her teeth. But that, like, the fastest Wonderbolt ever was weighed down by two really terrible teammates and still nearly beat an entire team of Wonderbolts. What a fucking event. People are gonna remember it for the national anthem that was botched, and how in their moment of like glory, like to revel in their victory, instead they are cringing. I get it, Twilight, you're trying to make him feel better. You're downplaying how shitty that moment was, and you're doing it for your friend, but I'm like, I don't buy it. I don't like it. It doesn't work for me. Some shit happens in the ice archery event, which I think is pretty cool. Like, yeah, first person to freeze their target win. Yeah, to completely freeze the target wins. Like, that's neat. I like that. Spike ends up stopping a spiky ice cloud from falling on the contestant, or like the audience. And people are like, dude, Spike, you stepped in, you saved us. This is not the first time you've saved people from the Crystal Empire. You are our fucking hero. And he's like, yeah, I guess. You guess? What are you talking about, dude? Like, you are a hero. I did what anyone would do. I was in the right place in the right time and had the right skill set. That's it. Like, there's nothing special. I'm not special. I'm not that important. I just acted. And what Twilight says is, Spike, the only person here who's disappointed in you and sees you as lesser is you. And it doesn't matter how much we praise you if you don't praise yourself. Like, it doesn't matter if we sing your praises and build you statues and call you like the brave and the glorious if you don't believe it. And like that's her Hurricane Fluttershy moment. She's like, I'm sorry that I can't fix that, but it is something that is up to you, and I genuinely hope you're able to, because we love you. And that's a lot of what Power Ponies is. It is an episode about Spike feeling like he is inferior, that he is the dumb, shitty sidekick, and his friends saying, no, you are part of the team. And I really like that. And so when I look at this episode, I'm like, man, for the big Olympics that has had 4 other episodes kind of hyping up the events. I mean, I guess 3.5, because just for sidekicks is more of like a half in terms of the Olympic stuff. For it to just be about Spike, boy, I don't like that, and I feel like it's a missed opportunity. And there's also that part of me that goes, the whole like plot of this episode is kicked off by Spike essentially having massive stage fright, which I get it. You're in front of like thousands of people. That's more than this, other performances you've done and everything. But I'm also like, I don't know if I buy this for Spike and his character. Like him feeling, the idea of Spike saying, I don't feel comfortable with the praise I'm getting for saving the Crystal Empire because all I did was just be in the right place at the right time. That makes sense. And that's not exactly stated. It's more just kind of implied. But that's kind of the idea, is like, I didn't do anything crazy. Like, Twilight did all the work. I was just, like, I was there when she needed me. But that's it. I think that works. And if they focused more of, like, that's kind of what started it, is he's uncomfortable with the praise and he's trying to live up to that, I think I'd like the episode more. But it's like, no, it started with stage fright and blah, blah. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think it quite works. And that scene where Twilight is trying to cheer him up, like, I get what you're trying to do. I just find the execution a little wonky. But at its core, it's testing 1, 2, 3 again. With a character essentially, with one person trying to say, this is why I love you, and like, this is why you're super cool, and the other character saying, I don't buy it. Except it's more explicit in this episode that this is what they're going for, where in testing, it's more of, this is an episode about learning and how people learn differently, but it's kind of implied. Or it's like, it's something I get out of it. I think Equestria Games just has some things for me that take me out of it, that prevent it from being, like, the goated episode of Season 4 that it kind of could be. I'm so close to saying that this is Spike's best episode, like, it's his best showing, because I love what they're trying to do with him, and I think for the most part they are successful. But overall, I'm like, I don't know. There's things for me that genuinely hold it back. So I feel like it's maybe an episode that I respect more than I like. And there's a part of me that's like, maybe this is too low. But, like, I can't put it up here. I kind of want to, and I am shocked that I want to put it up here. Because of, to me, how strong that moral is. That it's a moral about self-love and self-worth. It is an S-tier moral. It's like a double S-tier moral, because to me, it is, like I said, it's explicitly doing what this episode is kind of implicitly doing. But for me, this episode has so much shit going for it. Like, the devil is in the details. The details make this episode amazing. The details kind of weigh it down. I don't know. But I'm also like, Bats is higher than this? I don't know. I don't know if I can do that. I'll do that. Maybe it's like a reverse Hurricane Fluttershy, where I'm like, alright, if this is in S tier, things gotta go down. I'm like, man, if this is an S tier with some of this shit, maybe we do have to make some changes around here. I don't know. But, should I go ahead and do some housekeeping before Twilight's Kingdom? Let's do it. This is the king. Oh, I don't know if you heard that, but I just fucking ripped ass, bro. Excuse me. This, I'd say, is still S tier. This, I do want to keep it up here. It's so fucking funny. I think it's funnier than... As much as I like this episode, I think this is the one I'm definitely more willing to put in A. I really like this episode. I think it's really good. Simple Ways, I think the first 2/3 are A tier, but, like, that... I love it, covered in mud... It's so, like, that is why it's an S tier. I'm sorry. It's so funny. That has lived in my head rent-free for the last few days. Like, it's up here. This one is like Equestria Games, where I think it's an S-tier moral and what they're trying to do, and, like, it has something that's been living in my head rent-free. But the way Pinkie Pie is done in this episode, and, like, I do think the song is... If it was, like, a fantastic S-tier song, maybe, but it's I don't know. I think I can put this down in A and be okay with it. Mod is S tier. This is S tier. This is S tier. And here, I would say, I think this to me is overall the better episode than Equestria Games. I just really like this. This feels right. This feels right. Twilight Time. I put Twilight Time ahead of Equestria Games. Maybe I would also put it in B. This, I don't know. I'm sorry. Like, the more I was talking about this episode, though, I'm like, this is an A-tier episode. It's really strong. This is just such a fun time. I don't think it's as fun as Castlemania or being covered in mud. Okay. I think that's right. Can I put it up here? Maybe I should. I think I should. That feels right. This feels right. I like this. I think we're cooking. Now it's time for Twilight's Kingdom. Now it is time for the season finale. I'm also going to be honest, I have no idea how long I've been recording this. Clay and his mom were in the other room watching Lord of the Rings. I don't think they had quite started until after I had... I think they started around the same time I started, and I think I heard Gandalf yell, "You shall not pass." I'm like, how long have I been at this? But I'm also not going anywhere. Like, I'm staying the night. God, didn't I start this at like 7:30? Maybe it's 7. Oh, bro. Oh, man. Maybe I should take a quick break. But nah. We're gonna go as we go. And Hypothetical audience, we are going. Twilight's fucking kingdom is S tier, man. No, it's not. I have to also put it up here. It's so good. It's so good. I can understand my trepidations with the episodes. The parts that on other watches didn't quite click for me. But if I'm being honest, rewatching, I was like, this is so close to perfect. Like, if I was grading this on a scale of 100, this would get like a 99 or like a 98.5. The only things about this episode I don't like, I'm being dead ass, when they use the Rainbow Hameha elements of harmony on Tyrek and they get those redesigns, I think those redesigns are really shitty. It only lasts for a few seconds, but I'm like, boy, these look like ass, and I hate them. And it makes the castle, and I like what they do with the castle and like the map, but I think the thrones are really nice. I love that Spike gets one because he's an important member of the group and our good friend who needs to love himself. I love that. I think the actual design of the castle is kind of whatever. I would have loved if instead Twilight just got to inherit the castle of the old sisters, and there's kind of the map ended up going there. I would have loved that. And I don't know, that Rainbow Remind You song just kind of did nothing for me. Those are the only things I don't like about this episode. Let's go into what happens. Let's talk about why it's absolute goated Kino with the sauce. So what's the plot? The first part of the plot, and I don't mean like this is episode 1, but it's like there's two things that this episode focuses on. It focuses on Twilight Sparkle, and it focuses on Discord. These are our two main characters of the episode. Twilight's plotline is, hey, so I've been a princess, and that hasn't mattered at all this season. Like, it was mentioned here that a princess needs to oversee the swap meet. It was mentioned here that, I don't know, people think it's neat that I'm a princess. Discord was kind of making fun of me for being... Discord was making fun of me for being a princess, but that's it. I don't understand what my role is. What do I fucking do? What do I do? What is my place in the world? Because apparently I'm destined for something, and like I got this sweet new gig, and it doesn't mean anything. I feel like I have an empty title. And the other princesses essentially telling her, it'll come in time. We understand your trepidation, we understand your frustration and your anxiety. You will play your part. And they have a song about it, and is it like an all-timer? No, it ain't no winter wrap-up, but I genuinely like it. I like these three singing together, and I think it's the first time Luna sings. It's not the first time Celestia sings. She sings a Magical Mystery Karen. Cadence we heard in the wedding. Both Cadence and Chrysalis as Cadence. But I'm like, yeah, like I like it. I think it works. But then... Actually, no. I was about to talk about the plot, and I was like, wait, no. That's what happened in Princess Twilight Sparkle. Hold on a second. But let's get to the Discord part. Because some dickhead named Tyrek, who is a centaur, escaped from Tartarus when Cerberus abandoned his post, shout out to It's About Time, and is going around stealing magic. And he is, like, sucking the magic out of ponies, and it also, like, takes their cutie marks, so he's taking, like, their talent and maybe kind of part of their essence and their soul, too. And, like, that's creepy. Just that first scene where he's, like, walking around in his hood. Is he friend or foe? The pony wonders. Like, it's just creepy, but it's fun creepy. It's cool creepy. Like, I love this dude, and his... Okay, his weird IR baboon looking ass, but okay, I don't know, I kind of fuck with this. And the other three princesses call up Sparks. They're like, okay, this is what's going on. This is who Tyrek is. You know, he was a problem before, and he had a brother named Scorpan who actually grew to love ponies and friendship and all that shit, and he turned on Tyrek and he helped us kick his ass. and we sent Tyrek into Tartarus. He got out, blah, 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 blah. And Twilight's like, cool. Oh, that makes sense. That's my part. Celestia, you raise the sun, and you make all the political decisions. Luna, you deal with the moon, and you're like Celestia's advisor. Cadence, you run the Crystal Empire. Me, I kick ass. You know, like, when there's a problem, I solve it. Now check out the hook while my TJ revolves. That's what I do. And they're like, and she's like, cool. Tell me where Tyrek is. I'll beat his ass. I'll bring the squad. And they're like, we're going to send Discord, actually. What? What? Why? We think Discord will work really well here. Fine. I guess being the ass kicker is not my role. So Discord gets sent to deal with Tyrek. And they know each other. And Tyrek, I was like, Discord? You're free? He's like, wait a second. I know this dude. And through their dialogue, Discord's like, look, because Tyrek's like, you know, I should have figured you would want Equestria to yourself. He's like, oh no, I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for my friends. Like, Fluttershy, like, you know, I hang out with her, blah, blah, blah. He's like, you... Friends. You. Lord of Chaos and Disharmony and all that. You're friends with them? Why? What do you get out of this? Because I can tell you in 2 seconds what they get out of it. They get you not at your best. They get this nerfed version of you that they can control. Their friendship is just like, you see these shackles around my hands? That's what their friendship is. They're just at least I can see mine. And I really like that. Here's why I like it. Number one, it shows that while Tyrek later becomes this very unga-bunga villain, because as he's draining magic, he is getting literally bigger and stronger and like more buff and filled out and wide and shit, and I really like that. You see that he can be smart. He can be manipulative. He can be deceitful. But what's so interesting to me is that he's being manipulative, but he's not being deceitful. He's telling the truth. Celestia literally says in that season 3 episode, I think we can have use for Discord's magic, so I want you to befriend him and reform him. We see that throughout that episode, the main 6, with the exception of Fluttershy, but even kind of then, so it's more just the remaining 5, are essentially holding him at gunpoint. Like, they're holding him at Elements of Harmony point of, if you misstep, we will send you back to the Shadow Realm. Do not give us a reason to. Actually, take that back. Please give us a reason to. We see in Princess Twilight Sparkle, Rarity, Rainbow, and Applejack were just on site ready to blast him. The group are not friends with Discord. Fluttershy is friends with Discord. And as the Princess of Friendship, Twilight very, very begrudgingly tolerates him. The other, Pinkie, I feel like, wants to be his friend because she thinks he's actually really neat and wants to be friends with everyone. Those other 3 are just, no. We don't want to give him a chance. We don't want to give him the time of day. So when Tyrek is saying, like, yeah, their friendship is just a way to use you, and they're shackles you can't see. And Discord thinks about it. He's like, maybe he's not wrong. Because while one of them is my friend, and while one of them was willing to go to the end of the world for me, she wasn't happy about it. I don't know. So Discord turns on them. He starts actively helping Tyrek suck more magic, so he's taking unicorn magic. And then they're saying he's now strong enough to take other kinds of magic too, like he takes Pegasi flight and weather manipulation. He takes the Earth Pony strength and like their connection to the land. And, like, so he's going to be coming here to take our Alicorn magic. And that's pretty fucking bad, okay? So I don't know why I went Mr. Mackey there, but it made sense in my head. So here's what we're going to do, Twilight. The 3 of us Alicorns, because he knows about us, he doesn't know about you, and we can't give him all of the magic. we are going to give you our magic, and you'll be the last unicorn, but you'll be the last alicorn. And Twilight's like, nani? This is what you gotta do. Also, don't tell your friends. Don't tell your friends about this, because the less people who know the details, the better. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot about this, even though it's super fucking important. Earlier in the episode, because I don't think I ever mentioned the journal that they get from here. Okay, let me talk about some shit real quick. Episode 3 in Castlemania, because Twilight has been reading Celestia and Luna's journal, she's like, hey, maybe we should have a journal where we detail all our shit. So instead of Dear Princess Celestia, it becomes Dear Diary. Discord specifically points out the journal entries from the key episodes when they're trying to figure out what the box for the, by the Tree of Harmony does. So, they, sorry, I've been here for a while. Brain is not fully functioning. They go and grab all the shit that they have been given from the key episodes. Rarity was given some Rainbow Thread by Coco Pamel. Rainbow Dash was given, I don't remember exactly what it was, but she was given something from Spitfire. Pinkie was given Boneless, which is Weird Al's Rubber Chicken. Oh, I did forget. There's like this live action segment during the goof off of the Rubber Chicken dancing and of a real ass alligator, which is supposed to be Gummy, and I think it's fucking hilarious. Who was next? Is it Fluttershy? It is Fluttershy. Fluttershy was given a flower from Seabreeze. Applejack was given a coin from Silvershill of the first sale he made under false pretenses. So these are the keys. The keys all activate. They're like, cool, we got 5 of them. We're missing one. Twilight's like, we're missing mine. So cool. I don't know my role as a fucking princess, and I can't even fulfill my role as an element of harmony. It is just fantastic. And then Discord's like, I get to go beat Tyrek because I'm special and I'm important. Wouldn't it be nice if you were special too, Twilight? She's like, I hate you with every fiber of my being, my good friend. So anyways, back to reality. They give their magic to Twilight, who's now like super ooga booga, and then Discord can feel it, and he's like, wait, what the fuck? That's weird. Tyrek's like, the fuck are you talking about? Don't worry about it. So Twilight is told to go into hiding, and now she has to use Celestia's magic and Luna's magic to raise the sun and the moon, and she's having difficulty, but she's kind of pulling it off eventually. Tyrek goes to drain the alicorn magic, finds that there's no magic. He's like, you got rid of your magic, so I can't take it. Clever. Dirty, but clever. But now that you have no magic, I'm just going to send you into Tartarus because I can't. Give my regards to Cerberus. And so he does that. Talks to Discord. And he gives Discord this medallion. He's like, this is from someone who who's important to me. And I want you to have it as a sign of my friendship that, I don't have you under shackles. I want you to have fun. I want you to play and shit. You're my partner. And then Discord tells him, then I believe Tyrek finds the stained glass about Twilight. And he's like, wait, Discord, what joke is this? What bullshit is? He's like, oh, I didn't fuck with that one. That's real. That's the other alicorn. And you didn't tell me because I didn't fully trust you yet. But now that you give me the medallion, I know that you trust me, so I want to trust you too. Yeah, Twilight, her friends mean the world to her. Like, you want the magic? Like, that's probably what they did is they gave it to Twilight. Take her friends. Once you have her friends, she will do anything for them. Okay, bet. Let's go. Where are they? Ponyville. Let's go. Also, as they're leaving, the stained glass just fucking melts behind them. I'm like, fuck, that looks so cool. Sorry, again, I, opened my phone because I got a notification, and so I just looked at the art of my favorite character. I'm like, fuck, she looks so good. She looks so cool. Anyways, back to the episode. Snap back to reality. Twilight is trying to, get better with the magic and, learn it and master it and whatnot and blah, 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 blah. And Discord shows up to the Remain 5 and Spike. and betrays them, locks them in a cage. Like, Discord, what the fuck? He's like, surely you saw this coming. And Fluttershy just starts crying, is holding Applejack. Like, I didn't. I really didn't. Like, I genuinely trusted you. I thought the friendship you and I had was real. And the fact that you would turn your back on me breaks my fucking heart. So that happens. I don't remember if Tyrek drains them. I think he does. And then right after he turns his back on Discord, drains his magic. And Discord's like, what the fuck, dude? The medallion you gave me, the sign of our friendship. You said it belonged to someone important. Yeah, my brother. The guy who betrayed me. It's as worthless to me as he is. Now I'm gonna go find Twilight and take her magic. So then Applejack's like, well, Discord, surely you saw this coming. I didn't. I really didn't. What I love about this, like, let me just focus on Discord for a second. Actually, no, I feel like I should go into the plot and then we can talk about Discord. Because it maybe makes a bit more sense there. But I will go ahead and talk about Tyrek real quick. I am 90% sure that Tyrek was going to betray Discord the entire time, had no intent of sharing Equestria, had no intent of letting anyone have magic, blah, 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 blah. But there is that part of my brain that goes, maybe he would have. But Discord didn't tell him about Twilight. Discord made it clear that, no, like, I am friends with some ponies, and I was keeping one of the, like, I kept a major secret from you. And it is entirely possible that as soon as Tyrek heard that and realized that, he's like, okay, I can't trust him. He is proven he is not worthy of my trust. So, like, his ass is grass and I'm mowing the lawn. Granted, he gave him the medallion before he learned about Discord's treachery, and as he says later, he's like, yeah, the medallion means nothing to me. It was from my traitorous brother. But there is an argument to be made that maybe when he did give him the medallion, he's like, yeah, like, this is a sign of our, like, respect for each other. And then when he realized that Discord was playing both sides, he's like, okay, fuck you too, buddy. Because I've been betrayed before. I'm not letting it happen again. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be like, man, we should sympathize with Tyrek. He's a piece of shit, and that's why I love him. I think Tyrek is awesome. But I'm like, there's maybe some room for interpretation there, and I find that kind of interesting. But, the way that Twilight finds out about, like, meets Tyrek is he fucking snipes her when she's in the library. He snipes her, and it blows up the library. And you just get this scene of Twilight, like, teleporting out, grabbing Aloysius as the tree is nuked behind her. So, yeah, all of those memories and all of those beloved books, that shit is gone. And Twilight, who was having trouble using her Alicorn magic and all the Alicorn magic, has no trouble anymore. And a dead-ass, genuine Dragon Ball Z style fight breaks out of them, like, punching each other into mountains, teleporting, shooting blasts. Like, at one point, I think, like, Twilight, like, drops, like, some fucking rocks, like, she drops, like, a landmass on him, and then Tyrek, like, just blasts a hole through the landmass and comes out and starts swinging. Like, this is amazing. Like, what the hell? Like, it's the scene from the wedding on crack. I love it. Like, I've talked about how this has my favorite scene in the season. This also has my favorite scene in the season. And then afterwards, Tyrek's like, okay, we've reached an impasse. How about a trade, then? I will give you your friend. Like, I have your friends. I'll give them to you in exchange for the Alicorn magic. And it's one thing that's, I think, is super interesting about how Tyrek works, because they don't go into, like, really explain it. But I feel like, because I think when I first watched it, I was like, this is stupid. Why didn't he just steal Twilight's magic, like, during the fight? Or with Discord, like when Discord first goes up to him and like puts him in shackles and shit, why didn't he just go bleh and take Discord's magic? The more I think about it, the more I think he literally couldn't. I think he was starting with just like Ranbob ponies because it was easy. Because they even kind of say he's now strong enough to take from Pegasi. So I think it's not just I want to be stronger before I go for the alicorns. It's I have to be stronger. I can't just take Discord's magic in this first scene because he's stronger than me. But if I'm stronger than him, it doesn't matter if he tries to fight back. He just can't. So I think what he's trying to do with Twilight is like, look, I'm just gonna outmuscle her and take her shit. And he realizes that he can't. He's like, okay, I can't just take your magic. Plan B, give it to me. Don't resist. And this is the moment where Twilight has her like crisis of the elements. And it is, what do I do? The fate of Equestria is in the balance, as it often is. If I give up the magic, Tyrek has everything. He has the magic of literally every pony in Equestria. You know, I guess not, because shout out Starlight Glimmer. Because I don't think she was affected by Tyrek, so he didn't get everybody. But like, he got the vast majority of ponies in Equestria, all 4 princesses, and Discord. There is no one who can stop him. Again, shout out Starlight Glimmer. Given what Starlight can do in later seasons, like, I don't know. She literally in her premiere, she has the magic to just take someone's cutie mark and replace it with a nerfing equal sign. I don't know, man. Maybe she could have just beaten Tyrek. Anyways. Sorry, I was getting distracted by Glim Glam. Sorry. That happened. I was just getting a call from someone, and I will call them later. I haven't talked to this person in a while. I'm actually excited to, because, like, this is a good friend of mine. This is actually... When the movie first came out, like, I didn't have a car, and I didn't have a license. I wasn't able to go see it. So I told a friend of mine, it's like, I will buy your ticket if you take me to the movie. And he's like, dude, I have literally no interest in ever watching My Little Pony, but it's a free movie. I'll go do you a solid. And I don't remember if he said this, but the vibe he had during... And it's not like he was talking shit throughout the movie or anything, but kind of the vibe he was giving off during the movie and afterwards was... That was a free movie, and I felt like I paid too much to go see it. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, it's pretty fucking awful. I'm sorry I brought you to that. I'm sorry I subjected you to this. So it's kind of funny that he's trying to give me a call while I'm talking about Friendship is Magic. We're talking about good Friendship is Magic. Shout out to my boy Ricky. Anyways, point. This is her crisis of her element. If I give him this magic, there is no one who can stop him that I know of. We are fucked. But if I don't stop him, he has my friends. I can't give up my friends. I know I am sacrificing everyone and everything. I can't let him have them. Fine. I will give you my magic. I will give you all the alicorn magic in Equestria. And Tyrek's like, all right, bet. And he lets the rest of the remaining 5 in Spike go. And he's keeping Discord. And throughout this, Discord, like, you know, talks, he's like, yeah, like, I had magic and I had friendship, and I've lost them both. I made a mistake. And it's not something I can undo, and I'm sorry. And then he gives everyone back, and then she's like, Tyrek, I said all my friends, bring him too. Really? Like, are you sure? Like, don't get me wrong, like, if you want him, you can have him. I don't give a shit, but why? He betrayed you. He turned his back on you. You're not his friend. He's not your friend. I said bring him. All right. It's your end of the deal. Here you go. and she gives him Discord, or he gives her Discord, and then he takes the Alicorn magic and is even bigger and stronger and blah, 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 blah. And Discord goes up to Twilight with the medallion. He's like, look, someone gave this to me as a sign of friendship. At least that's what they said, and I believed it. To them, it meant nothing. But when I give this to you, and I put this medallion on your neck, it means everything. I'm sorry for what I did. Thank you for saving me, for choosing to forgive me, and for choosing to be my friend. And that is the last key. And then she's like, oh shit, this is the last key, let's go. So they throw it in the box, get the elements of harmony, have their really bad transformations. Rainbow Hameha, Tyrek is now weakened because the elements of harmony are fucking busted. He gets sent into Tartarus, the princesses are taken out, everyone gets their magic back. The elements make a nice castle for Twilight, and you get this little song of a rainbow going around, and all the key people are there, and that's the episode. Oh, there's also this one scene where I think they're all getting medals or something. I don't know, that might have been Return of Harmony I'm thinking of. But they're all kind of getting celebrated and blah, 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 blah. So let me actually talk about Twilight and Discord. Let me talk about Discord. To me, I don't want to say Discord is what makes this episode, because there's a lot of things that make this episode. I love Tyrek. I love how he can be this unga bunga piece of shit with a really great fight, and also super manipulative and willing to deal. I love the fight scene. I love how insane Celestia's plan is. There's so much in here that I love. Here's why Discord works so well. Throughout the season, and it's not throughout, he's only been in a few episodes, but in those few episodes, we have seen how little he means to the main six outside of Fluttershy, and ever so slightly Twilight. He's not their friend. They don't like him. They barely even tolerate him. So when Tyrek tells him, yeah, their friendship is bullshit, it's just a way to control you, and he thinks about it, he's like, yeah, I mean, they would rather turn me to stone than have me around. I pretended I was sick, but as far as they knew, I was still sick. And half of them just said, fuck you, and didn't want to deal with me. They aren't my friends. Maybe I am in shackles. And I believe him working with Tyrek is genuine. I think he genuinely falls, and I don't even want to say he falls for what Tyrek is saying, because again, I don't think Tyrek is wrong necessarily, but Discord believes it and goes along with it. And is genuine, I feel like when Tyrek takes his magic, part of it is oh no, I've lost my magic, I've lost everything, I'm in a shitty situation. But I think he's genuinely heartbroken because he trusted someone. And now he knows what he just did to Fluttershy. Not really the rest of Equestria, not really the rest of the remaining 5. Because they're not really his friends. They're you betrayed us. Yeah, but you've treated me like shit the whole time. I don't care about you. But he made Fluttershy cry. He broke his one friend's heart. And that hurts him. I think even in the moment, he's that, I don't like that I did that. But now he knows, this is how it feels, and this is what I just did to them. Oh God, I'm an awful person. And when Twilight chooses to forgive him, no, I want all my friends. Him too. he doesn't understand it. Like, neither does Tyrek. Tyrek's like, I don't get it, but whatever. With Discord, to me, he kind of has this sense of, like, I don't understand why you would forgive me. But I want you to know how much I appreciate it. If this is what friendship is, then I want all of it. And I know it probably means nothing coming from me, but I am honored to be your friend. I think there's something really beautiful in that. I think it's probably, like, the best reformation in the series, because, like, I genuinely feel it in the moment. Because in Keep Calm and Flutter On, you don't really feel it, and I feel like that's kind of the point. This is when you feel it. Now, is he still a dickhead after this? Yes, because it's Discord. But you now understand that he's like, okay, I actually want this. I don't just want to be a troll and ruin their day. Because I know there's an episode, I think it is in season 5, where he genuinely befriends everyone in the main cast except Twilight because he excludes Twilight from the event. But he also is like, I excluded Twilight because I knew she was busy. So there's kind of this sense of, I wanted to be able to hold something over her because I'm still an asshole. But I also did it kind of for the right reasons. But the rest of them are like, okay, but you still did it on purpose. You are being an asshole. And I don't know, I think it's kind of fun, but he's still himself for the rest of the show. But you do see, I feel like, a genuine effort to get better and understand. And it comes from his experiences here. And again, there's other characters that are like that. Sunset Shimmer, you see her earn her redemption. Starlight Glimmer, I feel like you see her earn her redemption. But in the moment, and maybe with Starlight, I'll kind of rethink that when I rewatch, what is it called? Cutie Map is the premiere. I don't remember what the finale is for season 5. But, like, when we get to it, maybe I will be like, okay, no, I kind of buy it in the moment. Maybe I'll be like, it doesn't work as well, but it's fine. With Discords, you really feel it here, and I think it's great. And I also I do love that moment from Twilight. Because I think part of my problem when I first watched it is I wasn't sure how genuine it was. If Twilight was like, look, I'll save him because he might have my key. Because of how quickly she's like, okay, we saved him. Cool, I got my key, let's go. I was like, if she's doing it just for the key, then it's not genuine. Then she's not actually embracing her element or earning her element. Because her saying, I want to keep, like, I am willing to keep my friends over the world is, you know, it's the element of magic and friendship and all that. But none of them would give her the key. It is her reaching that hoof out to Discord and it being genuine that does it. And if she's not genuine, it doesn't work, but I feel like rewatching, I'm like, no, I buy it. Because it goes unsaid, but I do feel like there's that sense of, look, like, I am the princess of friendship. And if I'm the princess of friendship, I have to be able to forgive people. And, look, you've left a horrible impression on me, and I'm gonna be dead ass about that, but I haven't exactly been warm and welcoming to you either. So, you've got no magic. I'm about to have no magic. We're about to start from zero. We can start over. I feel like that's kind of what it is. And it's like, look, like, you're a piece of shit and I don't like you. You don't deserve whatever he's got going on for you. Let me do what I can. I feel it. And then Discord's gratitude, I feel like, is very genuine. Like, I feel it from Twilight. I really do. I also used to kind of doubt how genuine Discord was, because at the end of the episode, he gives this wink to Celestia, and it made me kind of wonder, it's like, was this something they planned together? And Discord's betrayal was part of the plan, and then, like, his whole thing where he's like, you betrayed me, I didn't see it coming, is him doing a bit. Because if that's the case, then he didn't actually learn anything, which means him giving the key to Twilight isn't earned. And that's bullshit, and that bothers me. And it was something that always bothered me about the episode. It's what kept me from loving it. But rewatching it, yeah, I do think everything Discord goes through was genuine, but I do think this was all planned. But he wasn't in on it. Or he was maybe in on part of it, but not the whole thing. I think, genuinely, Celestia is like, look, I need to get that last fucking element of harmony. Like, Twilight needs her key, and there's one element missing. I'm gonna make a play. The play I'm gonna make is that I'm gonna send Discord after Tyrek, and he's gonna make Tyrek stronger. He is going to betray us. And this is going to set up a confrontation between Tyrek and Twilight. And Twilight is going to lose because she's going to choose her friends over the rest of the world. And that moment is what's going to convince Discord that he should be on Twilight's side. And that is what will truly tip the scales against Tyrek. And it is that genuine reformation in Discord's heart, like their social link maxing out, is that's what's going to give us the elements of harmony, and that's what's going to stop Tyrek. That is what I am going to put into motion. Let's go. And it works to perfection. And I think when Discord is winking, he's less of like, the plan worked, I got you, and just more of a, you sly dog. You set all of that up. And it worked. You played me like a damn fiddle. Good job. So it makes everything Twilight did genuine. It makes what Discord did genuine. It makes Celestia look like a mad genius. And also, they're like not trying to hide the stained glass or anything of Twilight. Like, it becomes less of like a plot hole in their plan and more like, no, I'm trying to set up the inevitable confrontation. Yeah, I do think Discord not telling Tyrek is partially because of, oh shit, I dropped the cap I was gonna chew on. Dang it. I think it is kind of because of this episode. I think partially it is because he's like, yeah, I don't know if I can fully trust you. I'm playing both sides. But it's also, I know Fluttershy is my friend and the other 5 don't really like me, but Twilight was literally willing to go to the end of the earth for me. Maybe I should, like, I know she and I have our problems. I can't just throw her to Tyrek. I gotta give her, like, some kind of fighting chance. That's kind of how I see it. So, Twilight's Kingdom is phenomenal. It is the better of the two-parters, and boy, this one is really good. I think it is on par with Return of Harmony. I think I still like Return of Harmony more, but fuck, Twilight's Kingdom is so good. It is a fantastic end to the Season 4 Myth arc. It is a fantastic end to Season 4 as a whole. It definitely does not feel like it could have been a season finale. But maybe that's just me. Ultimately, it looks like I don't have a bottom of the fucking barrel episode, because I don't know if I really want to put this here. I think here's fine. Overall, Season 4 is actually very strong. Like, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Of the 26 episodes, 18 of them are A tier or higher, including the two-parters. Which means there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 episodes. I probably could have just done that in my head. That are below that. And honestly, I would say there's 5 episodes I don't really like. That's pretty dang good. I don't remember what the math is for Season 2, because Season 2 has an F tier in the bottom of the fucking barrel. It has 2 D tiers. I think it only has 1 C. I think it had, like, an even number of S and A's, but that might have been Season 1. Or I think Season 1 was, like, everything was 1 less. It was something wild, but it was actually really cool. Would I put it above Season 2 overall? I don't know. I would kind of also just, like, want to check my Season 2 tier list, both in terms of the quantity of episodes up here, and also, alright, now actually looking at these, which has the better episodes? Because, fuck, like, I love these double S's here, but you're also up against Return of Harmony and Lesson Zero. That's hard to beat. And the S tiers, like, one of these has Hurricane Fluttershy and Sweet and Elite. As great as some of these episodes are, man, I don't know if they're quite as good as those two. And that's not to say, like, I think, like, the quality has been going down. Season 4 is fantastic. I think so far it is probably my second favorite season, which is way higher than I thought it was going to be going in. I think so right now Season 2 might still be the best season, but Season 5 is about to have Glim Glam, Slice of Life, which is a genuine contender for probably being the best episode of the whole show. And it's going to be really interesting because, you know, when I first watched Slice of Life, you know, it was when it came out, being part of the Brony fandom for several years. Like, it felt like there was so much build-up for the episode as being part of the community. Now it's several years after the community and just watching the show, there's no build-up to anything that happens in that episode. It's like, boy, out of context, it's weird. I'm so looking forward to it. But, boy, I feel like this was a super long fucking video. We'll see how long it actually was, but, that's it. TTFN, I guess. Ta-ta for now.